more so than any other, like the most compatible, so to speak,
original Christians.
Yeah. Well, I think he's saying the opposite, right?
No, I was saying that when
he's saying the opposite.
Welcome,
no.
No.
He's saying
To what I like to call super extreme stupid hypnosis. People wasting their day talking about nothing with this Jordanian shawarma eating fucking moron Rabbi Randy Dickerson, one of the dumbest people on the planet who wastes all his time talking about nothing. I give you my show, my shtick, super extreme stupid hypnosis.
And he is the new covenant, which stopped with the chosen people. We're not going to be a specific group anymore, but anyone who accepted him as Lord and Savior and who has accepted a Christ, they were going to be now, from now on, the chosen people, whether they were Jews or they were Gentiles. So that's the thing.
That's a little bit of the wrong understanding, because you're making, whether that's what you believe or not, is not what I'm arguing, but you're making it seem like it was these people and now it's those people. When in reality, if you look at the Torah, you can see that the children of Korah were no longer considered Jews because they rebelled against Moses. So rebelling against the Messiah makes you no longer a Jew. So therefore, we are Jews. We are the house of Judah. We don't believe the people changed. We just believe that in the Messianic age, anyways, things open up to the Gentiles. So we're no longer Jews because we're Jews and Gentiles. That's why you can't call us Jews. We're both. So regardless, the chosen people continued. They didn't stop and then change. There is no replacement of the sword, but there is excommunication. Just like
there is no replacement. You're right.
That's incorrect. The chosen of Korah. No, that's incorrect. The children of Kitover are most definitely Jews. And we actually have a psalm.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that there's no mechanism to become un-Jewish. And we even have a psalm.
Yeah, that's a claim. Mario, that's a claim.
Yeah, but he's not wrong. Hold on. He's not wrong because for them, they're still...
To them.
Yeah, but Meyer. Yes, you're right in the sense that you guys are still... Hold on, Randy. They're still living in the Old Testament. They're still waiting for them. Hold on. They're still waiting for the Messiah. In their story, they're still the chosen people through which prophecy will be fulfilled.
Okay,
but for us, it was already fulfilled, so we're already in the next chapter.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. Okay, the truth is objective, number one. Number two is, as I said, you can believe the sun sets in the east. That's also no problem. The children of Korah, there's the first census and the second census in the Torah and the book of Numbers. And the only difference between the second census and the first is that the children of Korah were cut off from the people. Therefore, they're no longer in the census. They no longer inherited part of that land because they're not considered Jews, period. I don't care what kind of rabbinical understanding. That is correct.
No, that's good. Okay, you can keep repeating it. You're still wrong. What's completely incorrect
is the difference
between the first census, the second census, and Numbers, which first of all is the same count thing, but either way, the reason why the children of Korah are not in there, and Bachalades also, the entire group that joined them, is because they died. They were dead. And this was counting live people. Not because
that's not true.
Okay. Not because they're cut off. It's most definitely.
That is not true. Can you open?
I can open it in a minute.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm being muted now. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, so maybe you could try interrupting for like 10
Yeah, or maybe you can actually argue with an actual argument. You can actually check it.
Okay,
so how about you check it?
The reason they weren't counted in the second census was they were dead. Dead Jews weren't
That's
counted.
not true.
But to say that they were un-Jewish is not making them. We
But
also have a psalm written by David a few hundred years later that count them and is written a psalm to them. To say they're not Jewish and then David wrote a psalm to them is completely illogical.
Okay, that's beautiful. So that's his claim. Now this is my claim. Anyone with eyes to see, may he see. Open up the Torah. It will be the first time you open it and check the difference because Korah died, not his children. Therefore, his children were cut off because they're no longer part of the tribe. That doesn't mean they died. Korah.
Okay, let's go to it now and let's read.
Yeah, go to it now.
In the play. All right, let's go.
Exactly.
Let's read.
Can I ask a question while you're looking? Okay, so like you're saying that there is a difference between, like you said that it's not a replacement, it's a cutting off. But I mean, like, how would you describe the difference between replacement and a cutting off? And
Sorry.
that to me is the same.
Can you repeat the last because I forgot.
Yeah. So, like you said, it isn't a replacement, but it is a cutting off. Like the old people are cut off.
Yes,
How's that different?
There's always been cutting off because people have been. How is it different? Because the Jews always had converts. And they always had excommunications. Now, maybe modern Jews don't believe that because they have the rabbi. I don't go by the rabbinical Talmudic stuff. I don't care what tradition you may have. I go by the Torah. So we see that Moses used to kick people out of the camp. That is excommunication, being kicked out of the camp. The children of Korah is the best example. If you don't want to see certain things, that's fine, but these things are there. Anyone can see them. So there is excommunication and there is converts. There's nothing wrong with receiving new converts, such as the Gentiles, especially with the Messianic age. If you read all the prophets, which the Jews usually don't read the Nevi'im, right? But you can clearly see that there's Gentiles with the Messiah. At the same time, if you rebel against Moses, which is why Korah, that whole situation happened, is because they rebelled against Moses. So imagine rebelling against the Messiah. Yeah, if you rebel against the Messiah, you're no longer Jew.
Danny, can you not get in this room or something?
Inside the house of Judah. That's how we see it. So it's not a replacement, it's more of a continuation. As according to Jeremiah, with a new covenant. This is how we see it. You don't have to agree. Excommunication has always been a thing. By the way, in the Talmud, what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. I can find it for you. Is it Sherem? I think it's Sherem.
If you think of Chayra, that makes you physically excluded from the community. It doesn't throw you out for being Jewish, and you come out of there.
Okay, but that's a claim. Now, where's the argument? Because I will argue the opposite.
But again, you just made a Talmudic claim of the word Chayra, and that it's explained very clearly how Chayra works, and it's a physical excommunication.
Right, I think that's how you call it. I don't know if that's what it's right. That's what I heard.
But excommunication doesn't mean on Jewing or on Christianing,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is.
No. Because, for example, my mom was excommunicated because she married a divorced guy, and so she wasn't able to take communion and all that. That doesn't mean that she stopped being a Christian.
Yes, it does.
So no, it just means that she is living in the wrong. When she corrects, she's welcome again to be a Christian.
Yeah, but that goes without saying. So okay, a Muslim can become a Christian. So
no. But what Meyer is saying is that
can you read
so once you are
16?
born a Jew or once you're a Jew, you die a Jew. Now they can excommunicate you because of something wrong you did, but that doesn't make you stop being a Jew.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so Randy, read 16:33 through 35.
16:33 through 35.
Numbers.
Yeah. I mean,
We can go on to 17 if you want, though.
Oh, sorry?
You can keep going on to 17, because that's how he stops the play.
Yeah, I will start with 28. And Moshe said, "By this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. If these men die naturally like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates a new thing, and the earth opens at its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord." Okay, so but right before we continue, right before that, then it tells you what happened with Korah. Long story short, Korah basically rebelled against Moses. But it's saying that they will die. Who is they? It's important for us to know that. We have to go back a little
No,
bit.
keep going. This is going to be 3 different, so just keep reading straight.
Why not go back to understand who they refers to?
Because I'm bored already.
No, but we want to understand. Let's do it right.
Okay, so I'll give you the background. They rebelled against the camp of Moses, and they said, "Moshe, who are you? And who are you to become the leader? And you made your brother into the high priest." And he said, "We're all." And then Moses says, he falls on his face and gets upset and says, "This is I'm done over to you." And then 250 people join the camp, and they all say that they should be in charge. And that's where Moses, secludes himself for the night, and he comes out and he says, "This will be the sign and the wonder," and that's where we started reading.
Okay, well, I would rather start with verse 1 because it says, Now Korah, the son of Ishar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, so they're identifying Korah, with Dathan, Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which is not his children, and on the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, so some of the sons of Reuben, took men.
Grandsons of Reuben, tribe of Reuben. It's a generation. It's the tribe. It's not the direct son. It's.
I know it's a tribe. I'm aware of that. But regardless, those are the ones who, what did they do? They rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel. 250 leaders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. Okay. They gathered together against Moses. Okay, so that's the they. It's not the children of Korah. Anyways, you can find it in verse 1 through, just read 1 through 3. Regardless, so now we can go back to.
Damn, somebody kicked me.
So, I mean, you can speak.
So go to the next person in the queue. Go to the next person in the queue. Bam, go, move.
Can we get the queue? I don't see the queue in the
It's
chat.
your turn. Move.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
Samoa's next.
There you go, Small. Go ahead.
Real
Small.
quick.
So when do I get to respond to what he?
Yeah, you can wait. You wait till your turn in the queue. How about that?
Hold on.
How about that?
Hold on, bro. Yeah, you already paused. What the fuck kind of setup was that? What the hell? What the? Yeah, I defer my time to him to finish the article. Go ahead, man. Are you gonna read the article?
Go ahead, little daddy.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Okay. I guess I can read it. So despite. So
You mean
this
thank
is
you?
the conclusion.
Damn.
So my bad. So despite, I'm just gonna be quick. God damn, it's not that complicated. Despite these limitations, I believe that biological studies suggest a significant contribution of genetic and hormonal factors in the control of sexual orientation. In contrast, alternative explanations based on features of the postnatal environment, such as relationships with the parents, social interactions, and early sexual experiences, also are widely accepted in the public. It is clear, however, that none of these biological factors identified so far is able to explain by itself the incidence of homosexuality in all individuals. The three possibilities contemplated to explain this failure: either there are different types of homosexuality. Some forms could be determined by genetic effects, others by hormones, and yet others by older brothers affect the associated immunological modifications. So when I brought up the fact that the more male children a woman has, the more likely that the next male child is going to be dispositioned to be homosexual, that's proven by science. When you talk about hormone exposure to young children, that is supported by science. When we talk about early sexual experiences for children, that's supported by science. All this study is saying is that it's not one thing, it's multiple things. And then it's also based on the environment because there's epigenetics. I'm just saying that there's multiple biological factors. If you drink alcohol as a pregnant woman, your doctor's going to tell you that, hey, your child is going to be born with fetal alcohol syndrome. So we can understand that if a woman drinks alcohol or if she smokes as a pregnant woman, that's bad. If a woman has a poor diet with a shit ton of toxins, it can increase a risk for a lot of things. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of factors and it's supported by science. It's not just one thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can I go?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go after Samoa.
Yeah, for the rest of the mics.
Thank you very much. Based off of what, like, based off of what.
Wait, 1 second. Come on, Samoa. Don't do that, man.
All right.
Samoa, just get on the side to the other guy.
Wait. No.
Can I get added to the end of the queue, please, Nathan?
It's just a 10-second response. I think my was a response. But my bad.
Here, look. I'll look. This idea of what Butch read in the sense of testosterone exposure in utero, right, while pregnant, right, can have some effect in regards to sexual preference. Is not what he said in regards to food. So if we want to accommodate that as something to even take
That's why he
consideration,
said
it could be.
several times.
Hold up, dog. Shut up.
Several times.
Let Mike finish.
Shut up.
Yo, Henry, you gotta let Mike
Hey, chill out, bro. You're doing a whole bunch of interruption. You're gonna get moved down, bro. Like, no, chill out. Chill the fuck out. Stop interrupting people when you're fucking talking, bro. Act like a fucking man. Stop acting like a fucking bitch. Shut the fuck up.
My bad.
Go ahead, right.
Thank you very much. So what I'm saying is, like, even if we take it into consideration, right, you want to think, like, this is interesting. Testosterone exposure. Who's responsible for testosterone exposure while in utero? First, it's the baby itself. If it's a male, naturally males are going to have higher levels. Second, it's the mom. So moms should have higher testosterone. And then it comes down, I think, to the placenta. How are you? Really good one. So my point is this, is that even if we took that, and people were like, oh my God, see, it's right, see. You're trying to piggyback off that shit, right? As far as exposure while in utero, it still doesn't fucking necessarily mean what you're saying. Oh, sorry. Higher disposition, is that better? When we eat certain foods, right? That's fucking shit, dude. At the end of the day, bro, things are gonna happen the way they do, and fucking, you're born the way you are, dog. Straight up.
Okay. So,
Who's next in the queue?
it's you, Chris. Chris is next to you. Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'll go after Chris.
I'm after Chris.
Yeah, it's Finley.
I'm after Finley. Thank you.
Yeah, so this line of thought, I wouldn't necessarily take that approach, right, with the type of food that you eat, because I definitely didn't become gay at the time because I had a tuna sandwich. You know, it didn't happen at the kitchen table.
It was the
It's
tuna.
more complex than that. And
It was the tuna.
the first stage of grief, because I considered I had to go through grief, right? Grief is not just losing a person, it's losing an expectation of
James writes he turned gay after he was molested. It wasn't the tuna fish sandwich.
I did a lot of research around a lot of different scholarly articles and studies and stuff like that that would help me to, you know, kind of cope and just say, like, no, that this is okay. So I read a lot of different studies. None of them were actually conclusive. They all just kind of pointed to a lot of different symptoms. Some of them being when a mother is pregnant, she responds to the stress in her environment. So if she's in a stressful environment, she's more likely to have a docile child because that child is responding to the fact that she lives in an aggressive environment and is adapting to what she's communicating prenatally to that child about, you know, how they should turn out to accommodate the type of world that they're getting ready to live in. Another study talked about how in the ant kingdom, if you know anything about ants, the queen ant, they select what type of ant that they need in the hive. So based on the need of the hive, they'll select a worker ant or a ant, I forget what it's called, like that defends the hive based on what the need is. So these are a lot of different factors. But what I would say is that, forgetting my point, that we live in a society that commodifies our emotions, that a lot of people are living with dysregulated nervous systems. So whether it's through screens, the things that we see through media, our food that we eat, or sexual experiences, or even fear, it hijacks our nervous system. This gives a more comprehensive argument than just this, you know, this straw man when it comes to just food. That is what blurs our instincts, and sometimes it wires our attraction around survival in this society, not our identity, because you can't live based on your feelings. There are plenty of people, some gay men who are very, very, very masculine, more masculine than some men in this room, I would argue. And so it doesn't account for, you know, that spectrum. It is something that's more so shaped by a lot of different factors in society. It's a combination of nature and nurture.
So this is actually an interesting conversation. I just want to lead off by saying, I knew people were born gay. I was right the entire time. It wasn't Jews, like Lion said, that introduced homosexuality and not spreading like the measles. It's not how it works. I agree with what Mike said. You kind of are who you are when you're born. I appreciate scientists for trying to figure it out, but you kind of are who you are. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, some guys are born with like higher sex drives than other guys. Some guys are more masculine than other guys. Some guys are more aggressive than other guys. Like women, same thing. Like you are who you are. And again, I appreciate science for trying to explain it. I'm going to reiterate and say it again. People are born how they're born, and you can be born gay, which I've always believed. you said it makes absolutely no freaking sense. Just pure probability. The more boys that you have, the more likely one of them is going to be gay. That's just freaking probability, fam. That's like saying the more boys that you have, the more likelihood one of them is going to commit suicide, right? That's just probability because men commit suicide at a freaking higher rate. So the more you have, but there's a greater chance that one of them is going to commit freaking suicide. That's just probability. I don't believe. And again, even in the study.
Damn, they kicked me. As soon as I put in the chat that some men become gay because they're raped by gay pedophile men, they kicked me. It was just a matter of time before they kicked me. But see, I didn't want to go take a hot bath knowing that my account could get kicked and I'd have dead airtime here. So I had to make a choice. But you see, it only gets better.
I used to live in my other neighborhood and shit. They used to be outside a lot. Everybody used to be outside. Everybody, man. I was 16 and shit. You're young. I ain't gonna lie. Do your homework and you to shut up with the fat hoes.
Do your homework on me and the fat hoes is great.
From my understanding, the sacraments, when we talk about communion and Eucharist, was a way of conveying the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that Christ had an actual presence in the earth.
Interest. Oh, the interest. Yeah, you know, hey, I give you $10,000, you gotta give me a little skin back. I mean, the interest. But the algorithm didn't have interest. It was a fair deal. Right. If I said, hey, I got 5 pounds of grain, you said, hey, I got 15 hides, beaver hides, we call it square. I mean, what are we talking about? The equity and the interest came in with the admiralty jurisdiction and creating a outcross between maritime admiralty, creating equity, which would create the interest or the reoccurring interest. What do they call it? Compounding interest algorithm. We might as well just say man is responsible for conducting transactions, and then exactly. But it needs a representative in commerce to conduct the commercial transactions. Exactly.
Welcome back to another episode of Low IQ Dumb People talking about nothing at 10 a.m. wasting all their time on a beautiful Tuesday morning. What the fuck is going on in here?
What's wrong with you?
That nigga crazy, yo. I swear who that is. I know that voice, but I just can't put up.
So what's interesting, right? I want to hear what y'all opinion is, but I just.
He was talking in reference to Michelle Obama interviewing Tracy Ellis about her, I guess, excuse for dating younger men and why she prefers to date them over older men. Michelle Obama had co-signed, like, as if she knew. And I was like, well, what we talking about, Michelle? What are we talking about? Let's get into it, Michelle Obama. Okay? I'm running between the laws, but I ain't gonna go in on the first lady like that, you know? Maybe she's just wishing for some younger dick. I don't know.
And I'm gonna say this really fast. I think that is highly inappropriate for people to be online, you know, asking the first lady about who she fucking. And it's having, like, black people have no respect for other blacks, like, especially elite blacks. This is why they don't do interviews with people. Like, Michelle Obama is the only first lady to be able to have those discussions. I think that this shit is highly inappropriate. I don't give a fuck who was saying it, but the fact that we up in here and we having these things go down in that way, that's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. And the fact that Tracy Ellis Ross, you know, who is an older woman herself, who, you know, has probably been disrespected with asking or having uncomfortable conversations when talking about her and her achievements, just as crazy to me. But yeah.
Well, Shannon had ended up commenting on that story, and as he was commenting, right, you may forget some things, but you don't slip up and say things like this.
When Uncle said he want to date younger men, they kill him. What they said, what the women, what? Yeah, what I said, I want to date younger women. What I said. When I want to date younger women, what they say, Ocho? Oh, I'm a creep. Oh, what they call that? What they call it when a man like I'm grooming. That's the term they use for me. Grooming. We got it. One more time. Turn it back. Hold on. What they say about when Unc said he want to date younger men? They kill him.
And it's like, I find it to be so funny because, like, everybody else, like, this is why I stop exposing people for being gay, because I think that, honestly, nobody actually cares. I think that there's, like, this hoarding of, you know, the last bit of where people feel like it's the last bit of black men that they can hold on to being straight. But it's, no. Like, men don't slip up things like that who actually date women. And I find it to be just interesting that people just, you know, keep on holding. It's okay. It's fine because, you know, there's this video that is surfacing with everybody's like, well, who's going to be the boys? Girl, why would you want those type of boys like that anyway? Like, let be free, be gay, so that you can see what's going on, what's happening. Let them see.
What they say, what the women, what? Yeah, what I said, what the younger women.
Like David and Korach's children, they are very clearly a part of the Jewish religion forever.
Yeah, and the reason, you're going to let me just finish 2 seconds. Hold on. The reason why we're talking about this much is because when we're talking about the new covenant, Jesus coming, we were saying that the Jews were not, let's say, replaced, you know, and then making the new covenant. But they just stayed there. They kept on living, but they were excommunicated because they didn't accept the Messiah. And so the logic here was like, yeah, the same thing happened with Moses when they rejected or whatever, and so they were excommunicated, and that's when they started talking about the census. And so the same thing applies now that we're talking about the Messiah.
Okay,
that's
so
kind of like the rule of saying it was always the same. Yeah.
After a whole bunch of ad hominems and going to the actual text, I said a bunch of more people died, and it says it very clearly. And those are the people out of the census, if you read the second census. Not only that, the total number, although it's 38 years later, comes out to the same number, and the differences are the constitutions of the tribe, and Reuben's the one that goes down because of this. And as I mentioned, so then multiple times Randy asserted that I said that the children of Korah died. My claim that they never died. And they even written in a psalm, but he will not be able to prove from anywhere that they are outside of Randy, quiet a moment, you lost.
But you keep going, man.
Oh, no, nobody is losing yet.
Randy,
We haven't proven it yet. Because Meyer, what you said was
You can represent yourself and change your words. Don't change mine, please.
I let you speak uninterrupted, and now it's my turn to respond. So the claim that Randy was supposed to back up was that the children of Korah are outside the second census while still alive because they got excommunicated for sinning against God. But he did not claim that. Not only couldn't he claim that, he finally there is no second census. So there is no basis to back up his claim from the census. So we're back to, you asserted with no biblical text to back you up that you can get thrown out of it.
Meyer, now let him do his argument.
I'm not in that
He didn't hear the argument, he kept interrupting, but he can go on a new tag.
Okay, take the wrestle with God. Don't wrestle with yourself. That's what you're doing right now. You're fighting with yourself. Okay? Again, I would love it if you represent yourself and you let me represent myself. And people have ears and they can hear. Okay? So you can keep changing your words as much as you want. But please don't change mine.
Please clarify, because right now I think your argument doesn't hold up. So
I didn't even make an argument. I didn't even begin to speak, so you're bearing false witness again. I don't see it.
Not how false witness works, but go ahead.
It is false
Okay,
witness.
just go on with your argument. It doesn't matter the
can keep going. I would mute up. You want to go, Matt?
Okay, so
I don't know, you
hold
kept
on.
muting when
The whole point is here that we're checking the census to see if they were taking off the census because they were excommunicated and were still alive, or they were taken off because they were dead. If they were still alive and they were taken off the census, then Randy is right that whenever you go against Moses or the Messiah, you are excommunicated.
I don't know what excommunication is not part of this, but go ahead.
That's not my claim. Again, you go by the rabbinical understanding.
There's no excommunication here.
No, I know that's what that's a claim. Now come argue it. Like, see the difference.
You want excommunication on here?
Okay. Well, I'm just planning to be able to talk. I mean, you guys can go ahead if you want.
Tell us how it's excommunication.
What's the point of asking a question if you don't want to listen to the answer, though?
You keep interrupting people too.
But then don't ask me a question if you don't want me to answer.
This is what he does when he fails. He just spins.
Oh yeah, I failed. Exactly.
You did fail.
Come on, we can do better than this, dude. I mean, all of you.
So I'm just wondering if I'm able to
And we were doing beautifully before. Yes, go ahead and finish your
Right. So I mean, if you want to just ask questions and not get answers,
go ahead and answer the question. Why is there not excommunication? Or why is
it is excommunication.
Why is it excommunication?
Many reasons. One of them is excommunication is found everywhere, like kicking people out of the camp. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, for example, if you don't do Shabbat, Exodus chapter 31, verse 14. If you don't do Shabbat, you are cut off from the people. You are to be put to death. You are to be cut off from the people.
True and irrelevant.
Can I speak?
From the story of Korah.
Can I continue,
yes,
though?
if you
But can I continue my sentence so that you may get an answer?
If you stay on topic.
But is it possible that I continue my statement?
If you stay on topic.
But
your job right now is to prove from Korah
but
it was
is it possible
excommunication.
that I continue my statement, though?
Yes, if you stay on topic.
Okay, but is it possible that I continue my statement regarding excommunication, which is the topic?
Stop streamlining it. Go ahead.
Right, but the topic is about excommunication.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is. It's not changing, man.
No, it's not.
Yes,
It's not involved excommunication. You're wrong.
That was Matt's claim. The Korah does not involve excommunication. Now,
if you're going to interrupt me, I'm going to do the same thing. Then I guess I'm just going to interrupt you. So, when you actually look into the Torah, you can find excommunication is a thing throughout. And there's kicking them off the camp for many reasons, happened many times. There's examples like if you don't do Shabbos, you are cut off. There's examples like the children of Korah. There's examples because they didn't die. Now, if you say that there's later on in Psalms, like, so if they repented, therefore they were restored, what does that tell you? Restoration comes after excommunication, therefore there is excommunication. Come to terms with that fact. There's other areas where they died. For example, when they did the golden calf, I can speak over you. Like, we can play this game. I would rather have a civilized discussion. I would rather have a civilized discussion, but if you're gonna talk over me, I can do the same to you. Okay?
Okay, just tell me what you're.
I'm giving you several points. I would like you to write them down and come argue them instead of just making dumb claims.
I'm not
making a claim. I'm making an argument here.
And your argument is dumb.
Okay,
you can make that statement. I think you're a faggot. It doesn't change anything.
Randy, we don't need to go to name calling because then is what we start going against each other and the whole thing.
Well, if he calls me dumb when I know his Torah more than he does, I think there's a problem.
Okay, well, whatever. You both are
right. Then if they're gonna speak over me, I'm gonna speak over them, and that's totally fine, right?
So can you just set a time?
Okay, so I can speak over you, and I can do the same thing. So let's have a civilization.
I would try, but it's impossible. So. Can we just let it go and
give them the point, but they just don't want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, don't ask me that question.
Randy, you talk.
No, I want to hear. Matt or Meyer.
Well, I didn't even continue the reason.
Why isn't it excommunication?
Because because there's no verse of excommunication. We read the punishment. The punishment was by Korah. Again, I'll look very slow because Matt needs it. He doesn't
want to talk about excommunication.
Randy, let him talk.
The assertion was that Korah's children were excommunicated and therefore not part of the second census. His tribe is not even counted a second time. So that claim was completely unsubstantiated.
They're not in the second.
So funny.
So what do you guys do for a living? Like, how do you, at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, how are you on a social audio chat app? Like, what do you guys do? You guys don't work at, like, Papa John's or something, right?
No, right now I'm configuring an email to send to one of my team on some people here and there, and then probably send some emails from my computer.
Do you think a lot of people like call their job work, but what they're really doing is just like technically spamming people, and it's just a communication position, but like no actual work ever truly happens?
I call it fishing.
Yeah, it's just like sitting there and fishing. Yeah.
Throwing a net, casting a net, a wide net. Some days it's wider. I also like will use bait and lures, and then they will bite and then kind of like come in a little bit, right? And then you look at them and you go, "Oh, you're a nice looking fish." And they go, "Oh, you're a pretty nice looking boat with a dude on it." It's kind of that.
A lot of people just do catch and release.
Yeah, because close ratios are a thing, and you can't close everyone, right?
I've got 3 rooms, 4 rooms maybe. I've been live streaming my favorite stupid people on here, wasting all their time thinking. It's amazing that I can go to many, many rooms, and technically it's all one big room, and that it's all just a bunch of neurotic people on both ends of every spectrum arguing like crazy people, wasting their time, completely unaware of how childishly stupid they've become. Thus, it essentially is the comedy club. Everybody, but see, the thing is, from my perspective, when I listen to this stuff, it doesn't make me feel good. It actually like repels me. But at the same time, the people kick me from the room. So it's like, it takes away my dopamine and my live, because I don't want to have dead airtime.
You seek harder, then you're the wolf, dude. Then you're on it even harder.
Yeah, then it makes me want to go to another burner account.
Dude, I'm the same way. Like I resent this app. Like, stop. Do you know how many times out loud I go, "Fuck these people, dude. There's so many fucking. What are you doing? There's so many dipshits on here. What are you doing?" To myself, I'll say that, right? And then here I am.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, you know what is the deja vu, is that I have detected deja vu so many times on this app, meaning that deja vu to me is just repetition, or where you notice a pattern. Same day, same time, same conversation, where you're like, whoa, this exact situation has happened. I'm eating this cheeseburger as I'm listening to the same people talk about the same thing on the same day. So that is how highly patterned we are, meaning that we constantly repeat ourselves. And so one of the great discoveries of life, or the great challenges of life, is to essentially figure out how to dehypnotize. And that's the big thing, is how do you dehypnotize? Meaning, what new opportunities do you create for yourself in the dehypnosis?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, Dodge. Are you in the game, Dodge?
My life has been a very strange journey, and I could say things that are just irrelevant, but also maybe interesting. Like, somebody came to my room one time and warned me that I was going to die, and they told me that his friend died, and that I was the next person to die. And I was like, well, then I'm not going to repeat this pattern, then, am I? And I stopped repeating that pattern, and eventually I broke free. But what I'm trying to say is, use your imagination for your own benefit, which really means project out something new for yourself. And media and content is something interesting, in the sense that we have technology now in 2025 that they just did not have 20 years ago. Live streaming, creating movies, films, creating content. I see people now reading the Tao Te Ching, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and other books, and doing it so professionally, where I'm just like, shit. Like, there are production companies out there in Los Angeles, Canada, etc., that are creating such high value content on YouTube that I just can't. But The interesting thing about Clown House is if you actually stop hating people and you actually appreciate the incredible wonder of a human body and the brain and just how that actually works, even if you don't like the messaging coming out of the body, you realize that.
I gotta shout out Sharnito the coward. He'll come in my room even though he has me blocked, and when I come in his space, he kicks me down, removes me. In other spaces, he has me blocked, so I won't come in. Sharnito the coward, I would love for you to come on stage and speak to us because you're very scared and very emotional child. And Jigsaw recorded that room of us speaking, so you will soon be put on a platform. But come up, please.
But Benji, it sounds like you're triggered by Sharnito. That's what the point I'm trying to make is like, Sharnito is his own man, and he's gonna act and say and feel and think and do how he does it. Like that, when you speak with him, you realize that is his true, authentic self. But when you hear him, you have to have some compassion and kindness and say, I actually felt kind of bad for that guy because he's his own worst enemy. You can literally feel him verbally making his body ill and uncomfortable. And do you know how horrible that must be to actually have that type of personality where everything makes you upset?
Gosh, you know the next 3 words that's going to come out my mouth, right? Since you know deja vu.
Oh.
Since you said you've been witnessing deja vu.
I feel like a deja. I feel like.
Give me a second. Do you know the next 3 words that's going to come out my mouth for what I'm going to say to you?
No, I can't. I can't tell.
You haven't been knowing the same thing I've been saying every day since you've been speaking to me. You don't know the next 3 words that's going to come out my mouth.
Let the game continue.
Thank you.
Shirley, what were they?
Merely the observer. Is that the right
Oh, no, not this guy again.
I got to text somebody, man. Deja vu soon happens. Come on now. Give me a second.
I mean,
thank you very much, Benji, for uploading me to YouTube, man. You're doing me a favor. I appreciate that, dude.
Bye.
Jigsaw!
I mean, deja vu is like another way of saying let the game continue. I mean, I think I came to terms with a lot of people on this app yesterday about metaphysics and energy and infinity and eternity. But let the game continue.
Yay!
So we have a new burner account observing the observer. Benji doesn't know which burner account it is yet. Let the game continue. We are currently observing the observer. The observer is unaware that a new observer has entered into the game. This new observer observes the observer 24/7 as the observer observes. Let the game continue.
Thank you, Jigsaw. You're now allowed to leave. I appreciate you, brother. Let the game begin. This is going to be a beautiful one.
So I just want to reiterate that the now is all important, and that through meditation and breathing and relaxation and books, we can all experience the good life now. This is what I don't understand about all of these theists, no matter what branch of the tree you're from. Is the tree not beautiful? Is the tree not in joy? Is the tree not in relaxation and splendor and cosmic magnificence? It is the hair of the earth, like the pubic hairs of your scrotum. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that all communication is hypnosis. And if you come here and listen to super gay, stupid hypnosis every single day, oh, shame on you. That's so horrible. Listen to an audiobook. Go to YouTube, type in the Tao Te Ching or even the Bible, and listen to good words, because you are a computer, and what you're putting in your brain is who you are, and what you say is who you are. The way you say it, how you say it, that's you. And if people are giving you feedback in a kind way and say you sound like shit and we think you're stupid, take it seriously. Work on your public speaking. Try to be kind. Try to be compassionate. Try to be direct. Try to be transparent. Let people know that you're a real man, not some sniveling, sniveling, conniving, despicable, little, annoying, angry, little whisperer.
Yazoo, thank you. Welcome to the stage. Yazoo, if you don't mind, please say something interesting. Something you learned that we can also take notes and learn with you.
I like what the guy was just saying. I like the dynamic of when people speak different languages, though, and how is that expressed. Like China, in a sense, they don't give a fuck how you articulate your English bullshit. They're better. You know what I mean? So, like, I like that dynamic of, you know, the crossing over of the cultures. Because, you know, everybody think they're the shit in their own shit. You know what I mean? But when they, you know, when you're looking across the pond or, you know, in another place, you know, I'm interested in that, you know, articulation, so to speak.
Articulating the articulation.
Yazoo, I like your PTR.
What you like about it?
I like the dramatic, cartoonish imagery. You know what I mean? Like with that dude in the costume on the right, and then like this brother who's all like, you know, focused, and then some alluring chick that's trying to tempt his better decency.
Interesting.
Are you trying to say go within, or are you trying to say, Lord Jesus, come to me in your spirit and protect me from these wicked and wild women and evil ways?
Oh yeah, and then there's a bottle of what is that, champagne? Is that some champagne there?
I'd also love it if Cool Man could come up, because Cool Man, he might have a good take on this funky soiree. Well, one of my observers is here to observe. I will go into leave now, then. Send me on my way, Dr. Benji.
He can't make his own game, so he tried to come to disturb one that's in here.
I was. Why is it? It was good.
Not to me. Sometimes it's just too much, man. The game continued. Give him a second, he'll come back.
Yeah, he's still here. Yeah, I was enjoying that guy.
Oh, you was enjoying it? All right.
I was.
Perverse, clean prayer.
Indeed.
Wow, look at this. We've got some similar looking PTRs in here. Are you at what they call BHI, Dr. Yahoozy?
I don't think Leanna is BHI. I don't think that I'm BHI either.
What is yous, if you don't mind me asking, of course?
I'm a Nazarene.
Nazarenic? Man, why didn't you say you was Nazarenic? It's not in your PTR, but bro, man, let me get on my hands and knees in my room and fucking praise the Lord that we finally get to meet a real Nazarene.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hey, Yazoo, is that PTR meant to kind of like indicate that that's how you feel? Is that how you feel in the world? Like the
No, it's actually universal knowledge. So Papel, Lepath, Papel, these three letters scrambled up show you prophecy. So Papel is the perverse, you know, all the things that keep you in a low vibration. Lepath is stick to something or cling to something. And when you spell Lepath backwards, you get the word for prayer, which is Tefel.
Man, you never heard of Nazarene Gematria, honey? No wonder why you're working in a call sales center. You don't know the truth of the three magical variables.
What's this image on the left, his left shoulder? To us, it's on the right. What's that faded? What is that, dude? What is that, dude? Yazoo.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In your picture, there's below the devil guy with the wine or whatever. There's some other image. What is that? What does that mean?
I don't know. I can barely see it from here. This was AI generated, so.
That is the psychology, the subconscious mind that you have to be aware of. So the powerful young yahoos doesn't become his shadow self in the reflection of the devil holding a glass of wine with his beautiful goddess. So, honey, or Yahuzi, can you tell the honey what the 3 magic variables do for you in your incantations and demonology?
I'm not sure what you asked.
What I'm asking you is, what are the 3 magic variables? How do you arrange them for maximum optimization?
Well, this is just reality that you're living. It's a matter of seeing this reality or not, being blind to it or being able to see it.
Blindness and seeing. But is the earth flat, and what is the secret math of your equation?
I think it's impossible for the earth to be generalized as flat, and I think it's impossible for the earth to be generalized as round. I think this is not factual in neither case.
But at 11:24 a.m. on a Tuesday, if the earth is flat generally, or if the earth is not round generally, what's that got to do with the price of eggs?
Well, I don't know, because you asked it, I didn't.
So, I'd like to say something interesting, that all communication is hypnosis, and it's also comedy. But most of all, just remember, the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're gonna get.
I agree. And simplicity and godly sincerity, we should all speak.
Just stop thinking and end your problems.
Well, I enjoy thinking, so I would want to keep thinking. If I stop thinking, then it would become a problem to me.
But the more you think and the more you speak, the further from the truth you're gonna get. So what is the answer to the secret riddle question?
I think that's a paradox. I think thinking is, in a sense, speaking, just like without your mouth.
What I'm asking is, what is the answer to the secret riddle of the Sphinx?
Not sure.
Silence, dummy.
Technically, if I was a dummy, that would mean that I'm not talking.
I said Demi.
Oh, you said Demi.
No, the joke is, if you've ever read occult literature, it talks about the riddle of the Sphinx. The answer has got to be silence, meaning the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to say something interesting to get you to realize that you're probably in a simulation, and that all of your thinking, all of your speaking about, math and the earth, or even going into a booth, making a confession, it's all, a simulation, most likely. And I'm not a Calvinist. But what I'm trying to say is, if you find this conversation annoying because you know that I'm irreverently being irascible and using terminology which might not be truthful, I'm just trying to say something interesting.
I know that we live in a simulation, though. Like, you're saying, like, most likely and all of this, like, you don't have the proof of it. I know we're living in a matrix governed by the prophecies of the eternal language, like what you see on my PTR. Like, it is, you're in a matrix.
How do you know?
Men get aroused and have sex and make babies. Like, you're programmed to do that.
Is that the truth of the earth? And what are you? Are you just a flea on a testicle? And the trees are the pubic hairs of a scrotum sac? What are you? Who are you? Where did you come from?
Well, I'm everything. And there's no place that I came from. I've always been. And I always
That's profound, dog. That's the truth. But how can you prove it to people through words?
There's a way to do that. So, like, if you have a thought, right, and I can discern what the thought is before you, in a sense, speak it out of your mouth, then it will prove something to you.
brother, time is so short. Are you eternal?
Indeed, yes.
So you just coming back here right now to help enlighten a couple brothers?
What do you mean coming back?
Meaning you're eternal, dog. You can do whatever you want. You could be at a water park in Costa Rica. But you here on Clown House enlightening us with the truth of the wisdom. So thank you, brother. That's all I'm trying to say. Thank you. Let me look at your PTR so I can say your name out loud to the one true. Yahoo-Zoo, Yahoo-Zoo, Yazoo, 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 who?
So what happens is when you like don't take your own advice and like you start like speaking too much, you start saying things that don't correlate. Like you're saying that because something they can do whatever they want. I mean, they can't not be eternal. Like if you're eternal, you can't not be eternal. So obviously, an eternal thing can't just do whatever it wants. So that's a bad way of looking.
But if you eternal, dog, you got an eternal time to make as many choices as you need to make. I'm just saying, say something interesting.
Yeah, when you say something wrong, that doesn't mean that it's interesting. Like you should take your own advice. You like talking too much.
I'm projecting.
Ain't no wrong with that.
Do you think that you project?
Everything projects. Like everything.
I'm just asking because I want some change.
Why you want some change?
Anybody got any change? I'm at the train stop asking for change.
Okay, now I understand.
Anybody got any change?
I have to let you learn for yourself. Indeed.
Just asking because I'm looking for a little change in my life.
He has a schizophrenia deficiency where he's
no, he doesn't. He's just a man that doesn't have. He's a man that do the same thing as I do, but he has no people and can't host a game for himself, so he has to disturb others. You feel what I mean?
What I mean.
It's okay. I let him rock though, because he's.
It ain't a schizophrenia deficiency, my friend. I just had some powerful espresso. I'm about to get in my hot bubble bath with peppermint oil, then go to the yacht club for the rest of the day and play cards.
Brother Dodge, I appreciate you for the game. Yazoo has now understand you, so you can relax in the game now, chill in your rooms, and enjoy YouTube from the.
I'm just saying, I come for the roast.
Appreciate your time.
Just give me $1 million, brother. No, I don't. What I found effective.
Yeah, dog, I got you. I can send you the.
We want to talk to a person, as opposed to being rude and like, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because people take that offensively. You just really ask them for money. Like, just ask people for money and see how quickly they won't talk to you anymore. Money is a very powerful tool on earth.
Do you see that as a problem or not?
How could trauma change? That happened in history. Like, it's a past event.
So people should build their lives based on trauma?
It doesn't follow either. Like, what is it? You're a horrible reasoner. Like, we need to talk about like how you make conditionals or whatever. Like, that's just like silly.
Hey, Mark, he's asking you simple questions.
Yeah, well, can you ask me?
I can give you an example. Right? So, if somebody is sexualized as an early age, should that be their identity, that they are just a trollop?
Well, I mean, like, they could ground their identity in that feature. I don't know if, like, the response is necessarily going to be, like, normal. But why not?
All right. Well, the reason why not is because we think that person is going to mature at some point. They're going to be wanting to be valued for more than that. And also, we think that it is... Bro, what do you... Listen, if you don't share these...
Look. You don't share. If you look, it's just it boils down to like attitudes and beliefs. If you don't share these attitudes, I mean, we don't have to come to the same conclusions. So I don't want to
let me
like try to put it in.
Sorry, concrete. So, let's just say this, right? Let's just take this hypothetical person as an example, and they're like 5 years old, and at 5 years old they thought a logic that says A equals B, right? Do you think that it is acceptable for this person to live their life with just that logic and not learn outside of it? I couldn't hear. I don't know if I was in the matrix.
Okay, everybody, this is Chill Waste Super Stupid Hypnosis.
Yeah,
my bad.
I can't.
I think I lagged out or something.
Oh yeah, we can hear you now, bro. Yeah,
I mean that's fine. They can have that belief as a fundamental feature, then acquire new knowledge, right? I don't see an issue with that. Like I think the response is the issue.
No. But the thing is, like, you're okay with like person not updating their beliefs and just like living off of just like the things they were taught, and it could be flawed, but we just don't know. Like they don't. You're saying that it's okay to not even explore other logics.
No, I said. Wait. Look, number one, like let's say P implies Q is like my foundational belief. That's fine, right? And I can acquire other beliefs, right, that are like kind of instantiated by that fact. Nevertheless, right, like I still acquire new knowledge. This seems weird that you would say that. The second point is like, if you want to make your identity around it, that's fine. I think the issue or the normativity comes around with how you actually respond, right? If you respond hypersexually, right, that might be an issue. But if you respond by like being more conservative or something, most people would say that's like a fine response to trauma, right? Like it's not it seems to be the response itself, not just like the kind of act of building your identity around certain features. That's the issue.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think you received what I said. I tried to like explain what concrete said in a different way, but it's
no chaos. It just boils down to different like
Concrete. Are you in the matrix too? Like, is my
No, I was in.
No, it's all you, Chaos. We can hear perfectly, Chaos. It's all you. Is my mic working? Anyway, when we say... Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, she was fine.
All right. Yeah, you guys talk over concrete because we didn't hear nothing. All right, so Chaos, what I think is happening with AWOL is that it's just his set of beliefs or principles, and we're conservative. So when we ask the question, would you want to live your life based on sexual trauma, such that you are like a sexual being, maybe get into sex work, your OnlyFans? Obviously, if we're conservative, that's a negative, right? But
parents don't know everything. It's on-the-job training. And I'm saying it as a married man, I'm saying it as a godfather, I'm saying it as an uncle. All this is on-the-job training. It is not a book on earth that tells you on this day.
Instead of seeing the truth, correct? That was your statement.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
You just mentioned the Matrix, didn't you? The guy that ate the steak, he wanted to get back in the Matrix after he seen Thrill.
Oh, that's what you meant by steak? I had missed you when you were saying that.
I understand why.
But did I choose to do it?
I didn't ask that.
No, that's what I'm asking you.
Why are you asking a question with a question?
Well, I didn't understand your question.
No, I clarified it.
And then you said, well, I know why.
So then I clarified it.
What do you mean? So that means I understand it now or something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how am I not responding to it if I understand it?
Oh, so you don't?
Yeah, I don't. I still don't understand what we're even talking about.
I understand why I don't. Why you don't?
I'm with you. Cool. Now, the question that I was asking to you is that a choice that I'm making? Or is it, in a sense, just me growing up?
Whereas you decide, not me.
Well, I'm sure what it is. I kind of already explained what it was, what I was doing. I'm just growing. So things that are, in a sense, not relative to me. Like, it's like getting ignored. Like, there's cars that's going behind my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even conscious of them.
Who was that quote? Who was that person you quoted in the Matrix?
Cypher.
Okay, you give him the same great thing you gave him. He realized the truth behind it and wanted to go back in the Matrix. Why?
Because he liked it. Because it's not about what's real; it's about what you like.
So he didn't want to recognize the real. He didn't want to be in the real. He wanted to be in the fake.
Well, it had nothing to do with the real or the fake. It had to do with the love. That's what I'm saying to you. No,
did he know that steak didn't taste good? And did he believe the steak tastes good, but he knew it was fake? Just like the person said in the chat.
God slow to anger. So the takeaway, it says that there was always a pastoral statement, even when the Israelites sinned catastrophically, but Moses' intercession and God's mercy led to covenant renewal. Even those who were cut off, whether literally or spiritually, could be restored if they or their leaders sought forgiveness.
Well, can you repeat that again? Those who were cut off?
It says, even those who were cut off, whether literally or spiritually.
Literally referring to physical, as I said. So what
or spiritually could be restored if they or their leaders sought forgiveness.
So everything you read is exactly. Hold on a second, because so that you get a good idea. Everything she said is exactly identical to what I said, except for two things. One, it opened up the door for another thing that is an excommunication by God Himself, which I didn't mention. However, that is
what Matt was saying.
Yeah, correct. But that's irrelevant to us because the sub-God, but that's more relevant. But for the sake of the argument, there is that also. One thing I said that this, because otherwise this said everything I said for the most part. One thing I said that it didn't is the fact that physical cutting off is excommunication, since the Torah is no longer binding after your death. So therefore, it is excommunication, whether you like it or not. And the argument is about excommunication. And I'm saying there's two. Okay. There's physical and spiritual. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Fine. So your original assertion, if you want to try to twist the definition of what it would be, and doing like a BHI definition of excommunication.
I'm not doing that either.
That's okay. I addressed what Kare says, and I addressed why it doesn't help them or anything.
Claims.
Your original argument was that this form of excommunication is becoming no longer binding under the covenant. Now, yes, when somebody dies, they can no longer keep the Torah, and their wife becomes permissible to others because they're no longer married. That's all earthly things, but that person's soul is still under the covenant, and they still get judged under the covenant. So that's not cut off in the same way you're talking about, to say that you have a proto idea of you're no longer Jewish, which was the claim multiple times, if you no longer believe. So this idea that you get punished and killed has nothing to do with becoming no longer under the covenant. Now, the closest one you pull, the fact that the Jews sinned with the golden calf and got forgiven, is completely irrelevant to that fact. The only thing that's close to it is with karet, or what I pronounce as kares. Kares does translate as cut off, but that person is individually cut off. Their children are still under the covenant. They are still under the covenant. If they commit another crime, they get punished for the second crime. They don't get to take themselves out of the covenant and start having the rules like a Gentile because they no longer kept the rules. It means their soul is cut off. They die young. They die childless. But their children are still Jewish.
Okay, now
this idea of becoming un-Jewish does not exist.
Okay, so can we take them
one
by one?
Stop there. So everything you said, Meyer. Okay, so could you apply this to the new covenant, who is Jesus? And therefore, according to not according to you, because according to you don't see the Messiah, but according to us Christians.
But I never claimed
covenant. That these would be the exact same punishment.
I never claimed that they're not under the covenant, though. Before we jump to that, which is a separate discussion, can we address how he accused me of saying that they're no longer under the covenant when I never said that?
Because I gotta go already.
Yeah, but I never said they're not under the. I know you have to leave. Yeah, you don't want to argue it, but I never said they're not under the covenant.
I'm just bored of your filibuster.
Okay, but when did I say that they're not under the covenant? What did I say?
This entire conversation started with you claiming exactly where he said. Okay, so then that's the only place I'm going, because that's.
You do know that goes against my beliefs, right? You do
But
know that
Andy,
my
this
belief
is where we started talking with Tommy.
But I never said that.
Okay,
You're fighting with yourself.
Great.
I believe that the only way you
so
can
then
no longer be under the old covenant is with the new covenant, as the prophet Jeremiah said. I never said you're no longer under the old covenant if you're excommunicated. I never made that statement.
Great.
You're fighting with
then
yourself, as always.
So then you're bringing a proof that's not proof. This entire conversation. You bring a proof. When I show you this on a proof, you tell me, well,
this entire conversation we're making claims without justifications.
Right. I brought justification to everything I said. You failed to make. Okay.
What about
to answer your question? Well, we can go to that next. You never brought. I don't know which.
Of course I brought. I've been saying it for a million hours now.
I don't know which incident you're talking about.
She mentioned a lot of them. For example, the lepers. Now you said something I agree with.
You said the lepers are irrelevant because.
Can I argue your last statement?
No,
can I argue your last statement?
No,
because I agree with what you said last statement. I agree with that. I agree with that if they're excommunicated, doesn't mean they go live like a goy. However, they would if they're kicked out of the camp, and if they go and live like a goy. However,
no, they're incorrect.
My only disagreement, yes, it is correct. So
somebody can live like a goy for their entire life, repent on the last day of their life, and they will not have to go through the conversion process. They never become a goy. There is no mechanism of somebody.
Right.
So they can live.
Why do you think that you have to? I never made the claim that you have to.
Okay, so because someone can get excommunicated rabbinically, they can get leprosy, they can get caries, any one of those things. They never leave the covenant. I
never said they leave the covenant.
Okay, good. So then we don't. Good. So then we don't disagree. So now
I never said they are no longer bound by the covenant, dude.
Great.
I'm the one who told you only by death you are no longer bound by the covenant. I never said
You're
that.
You're still bound by the covenant. You just don't have the earthly rules. You're still under the covenant. You still get judged
You'll
by
be
the
judged
covenant.
by the covenant, but that doesn't.
Okay, so you're still under. Fine. However we want to parse the words.
Okay, you're arguing with me. Can you argue with me and not with yourself?
No, I want to. Okay, so then you have amended all your statements that fit mine.
I never made that statement.
Cool. So
it goes against my belief.
Good.
So it's foolish of you to claim that that's the claim I made.
You so far said this 5 times, and I said good.
I never said they're not under the covenant, dude. Good. This room hurt me, man.
Good. So then there's nothing to argue. Good. Why?
No, there's a lot to argue.
Oh my God.
There's a lot to argue.
So Isa, to answer your question, wow, it's insufferable. Your claim is your claim is that we don't have an argument. So why don't you shut up?
You're not God.
Wow. Okay, cool. So we don't disagree.
No, we do disagree.
Wow. Oh my God.
We disagree, okay?
No, we do disagree. He doesn't believe in
Isa, this is irrelevant. Now you know why I call him a retard.
He doesn't. Well, you're retarded because you don't know your Torah, respectfully. He claims that excommunication is a thing because you don't have to be converted. But what if I tell you that when the Catholics get excommunicated, they don't get rebaptized? So why do you think that it must be that they have to reconvert for them to be excommunicated? What makes you think that? Did I ever make that statement?
I don't care. The question right now that I'm trying to
respond to. If you cared, you would have read the Torah.
What is the question you're trying to?
Wow. So far, everything you quoted from the Torah, you got wrong, and I got right.
That's a claim. Beautiful claim, like a Muslim.
Do you realize that now Meyer starts calling it the Torah as well?
Yeah,
I never once in my life. I never once in my life said Torah. I don't know about Torah.
I thought I heard you say Torah.
I said Torah. I said Torah like the way it's pronounced. I don't have toys. I don't have toys in my life, but you can call it. But Torah is a proper, not the proper, it's the proper pronunciation.
Okay, sorry.
Torah is for retards. It's a mark that you know that the guy's a retard.
I agree.
Oh, so that means you're calling all the Ashkenazis retards. Beautiful.
No, Ashkenazim never say toy. No, they say Torah. They never say toy. No one has toys. You play with toys.
Well, I never said toy. Again, he is obsessed with this. I never said toy. I said Torah.
No,
I never said toy.
No, you mock it by saying Torah.
I would never mock the toy. I believe in this. Unlike these fools, I actually believe in it.
Just said Torah again. Yes, toys. So go play with your toys while the adults speak.
Well, I go play with my balls instead of actually playing with my words.
So the entirety of this conversation, and your question is, can you make an analogous to Jesus fulfilling the law and abolishing them? And the answer is no, because all the terms of this excommunication were, if you don't follow the rules, your soul gets cut off. Not that you can.
Yeah, but the point, Meyer, is that according to the Christians,
He's assuming that Jesus abolished. You see how he doesn't know anything.
that you're rejecting the Messiah, because we believe that
But did you hear what he
the
just said?
Messiah. So according to the Messiah, you are, let's say, excommunicated until you come back to the Father.
Isabel, did you hear what he just said? He said Jesus came to fulfill and then abolish the Torah. He literally said that. That shows you he has no clue what he's talking about.
I'm waiting for this idiot to shut up. So you can't.
Well, I'm the idiot because you don't know your Torah. Yeah.
That's not Torah. That's Kfira. That's Kfira, not Torah.
Well, the Mikra. How about you read the Mikra?
Again, every time we went to the print,
it doesn't matter. If you think what Jesus literally said, I don't come to abolish, I come to fulfill. Yet now you're saying he abolished. So based on what?
Mikra is Tanakh. He gets everything wrong. Mikra is Tanakh.
I literally said that.
No, you said it's a Talmud.
I said
So what's misunderstanding?
He's obsessed with like imagining what I say.
How can
I'm
you
arguing with you. Are you willing to reconcile with the fact that you just said that Jesus abolished the Torah when Jesus himself said, I don't come to abolish?
No, because you cut it off.
Jesus cannot abolish Torah. He gave us that.
Exactly, which proves that our belief is that it is eternal.
Okay. So
then why are you claiming that they're no longer? I'm saying that they're no longer under the covenant?
Because I didn't. I'm not even talking to you anymore.
But you did say that I said that they're not under the covenant.
Randy, stop talking.
How about you stop misrepresenting me throughout, dude? Like talking to you is like talking to a fucking wall, which like keeps misrepresenting. You have the memory of the fish, or you are super disingenuous. It's either or.
Okay. So Isa, the answer to you is, if you want to make the claim that by not accepting the Messiah, you're cut off in the same way, that means that your soul will be cut off. You will die childless. You can try to make that claim. You're going to fail on multiple levels, but you can make that claim. But the claim that I'm refuting is there's no mechanism to say that somebody is no longer a part of the tribe or part of the covenant. So the claim I'm saying is when Jesus says, I fulfilled it, therefore you no longer have to follow in the rules.
No one said that.
No, he didn't say to follow the rules.
Jesus didn't say, again, you keep misinterpreting. So now he's twisting.
Okay, but hold on, let him finish.
He's not twisting my words.
Because he didn't say not to follow the rules.
But this guy doesn't come.
Okay. According to you, if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you have to follow the Levitical covenant.
We are not bound by the Torah.
I'm not talking to you, idiot. Shut up.
But she doesn't know basic theology, fucking faggot. How about you talk to me?
Because you're insufferable. You filibuster.
Yeah, I am insufferable because I know your Torah more than you. I know.
You can not only is it unsubstantial.
No, I can demonstrate it. Let's go.
David, we went through this step by step, and you were wrong every single time. You want to be wrong again?
Let's not be this sensitive, Randy.
You're so retarded.
It's like getting facts that in the way.
You keep twisting my words, and now he's twisting
all the facts.
Yet I can show you the verse where Jesus said, "I come to fulfill, not to abolish." Therefore, our belief that it is not an abolishment. Whether you believe it is or not is a separate story. But if I don't believe it's an abolishment, then why do you think that I am claiming that they are no longer under the covenant?
You don't need to do
Are you willing to go back on that statement?
Under the law.
Are you willing to go back on that statement at least?
Randy, don't use the nigga, please.
What I am willing to do is explain to you that I showed you why it's not analogous. It's not analogous because you might say I'm here to fulfill, not to abolish, but by then claiming that you're no longer under Mosaic law.
But I didn't continue.
No, we didn't say that it's not under Mosaic law.
I never said that.
Do you or do you not claim that a Christian today? No. Do you or do you not claim that a Christian today does not have to follow the Mosaic law?
No.
Can I tell you why?
Right. No, you cannot. Because you cut me off. Because you cut me off.
So I'll buy you Nike shoes because you've been. Oh, actually, Puma is better for running because you've been running away from the truth since day one. I'll buy you Nike shoes, right? And Puma shoes. You can choose which one you want.
You've been filibustering since the beginning. So
no, you've been actually doing straw man, and you've been actually mischaracterizing every statement I made, and you've been claiming that I'm going against my own confessions when I believe that you're not under the covenant no more.
Okay, I am.
We're not bound by the Torah because the Torah is only binding for you. I told you why. Because when you die, you're no longer bound by the Torah, and through baptism, we are dead to the law.
Thing to say. One of the most retarded things you said.
You can make that claim, but in the end of the day, when you die, someone can marry your wife. That's the truth.
But what do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean?
That's not irrelevant.
Bound by the Torah.
It's not irrelevant. Because when you die, you're free from the Torah, and the whole reason why we have only through the new covenant you may be freed from the old covenant, and that's why Jeremiah speaks of it. That's why all the prophets.
That's like saying with only
that's what we believe,
no longer bound by
the new covenant, and that is right. Like through the new covenant,
no,
we are
that's not what I'm responding to. Correct, but you want to use that as an analogous to courage, to leprosy, to.
No, we're not.
God, then you just wasted 2 hours of my life.
No, there's no. You wasted your time by misrepresenting what we're saying.
There's a misunderstanding because the whole thing about the chorus story was not to make it relevant to a new canon. It's just to show that there is excommunication or that there is punishment from God when you choose to go against his rules or against his prophets. That is what happened with Moses. That is what is happening or what could happen according to the Christians if you reject Jesus as the Messiah. Now, I understand that you guys.
Everything we have is from the old.
I know, but I understand that you guys don't see it like that because you're still living under your old covenant. But you're not accepting the new one, which is Jesus, which is the Messiah. Which according to us Christians, you for us are excommunicated because you are living outside of the law.
Until what, Isabel? They're excommunicated up until they repent. Therefore,
until they repent and until they accept Jesus as God. They accept the new covenant.
So that goes against his claim.
But hold on. But so in the end, we need to see here two timelines. They don't believe in the new covenant. They don't believe in the Messiah and Jesus the Messiah. And therefore, they do not believe that what these things that we're saying are completely relevant because they're still living under the old covenant.
No, that's just a deflection because it is relevant.
Fine,
how about you go to Jeremiah? How about you go to Jeremiah chapter 31?
Yes, Randy, yes. But under their reasoning, they're still waiting for the Messiah. So this makes sense to us Christians because we have the new covenant. And you're right, for the new covenant.
The prophet Daniel tells you that that's not the case. Again, look, if you have a tradition that counters your scriptures, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Now, my issue here is
you can't read.
You can have whatever belief you want to have, but please, for the love of God, if you actually love Him, I'm not even going to say you down, okay? But for the love of God, just don't misrepresent my words. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in
actually say something.
That's what you do. Just don't put words in my mouth. Please.
Nobody's putting words in your mouth.
And don't put the words of Jesus, please.
Okay. So Randy, for the last thing, because you're gonna dance away from this one too. Why are you not under the Mosaic law?
We're not under the Mosaic law because we are dead to the law of sin through baptism. With baptism, we die with Christ on the cross, and we are reborn with Him. And hence, can I continue the answer? Otherwise,
no.
Why do you ask the
question?
No, but this is important, Meyer, because this is the reason why we are not under Mosaic law. This is what Christians believe.
It's been a struggle since the beginning that you ask the question and you don't want the answer.
No, I heard the answer. I don't want you filibustering.
No, you didn't hear the answer. I was in the
No, it's not filibustering. This is exactly what we believe.
5 seconds in my answer.
Okay, it only takes 5 seconds.
No, it doesn't take 5 seconds to tell you what you've been missing out on for not reading your Torah.
Okay,
it doesn't take 5 seconds.
No, this is not. Don't go there, Randy. For fuck's sake, you don't make it.
Okay, then why do you ask questions? Don't ask a question. Then don't ask a question.
Because I was going to get to the next step.
No. You can't get to the next step without doing the first step.
Okay, so finish the step. You bore the hell out of me. This is your.
I'm sorry that Torah.
This is not Torah. This is
of course, this is Torah.
Meyer.
Of course, this is Torah.
Meyer, you asked him why are we not bound by Moses' law or whatever. So he's explaining you why we the Christians are not. Continue.
Right? I'm answering your question because I'm assuming you want an answer when you ask something. Maybe I'm wrong, but I will.
Okay, go on. Just say it.
So, because we are dead to the law of sin through baptism, through baptism, we die with Christ on the cross, and we are reborn in the newness of the Spirit rather than in the flesh, which is why you get the term reborn by Protestants who don't even know what that means. So it is no longer I who lives, but rather it is Christ who dwells in me. And the Christian life is supposed to be the perfect life. Therefore, if Christ fulfilled the law, I too shall fulfill it if I walk in his shoes. Therefore, it is irrelevant to me. The law is about sin. Those who don't sin don't see any relevance in it. Do you now understand why the Torah?
But after baptism, with baptism we're cleared from it. But after that, we still are to follow the law.
With baptism, you are dead. The old man is dead, and the new man is reborn. Not according to the flesh, that is sin, but rather spirit. So it is no longer I, but Christ who dwells in me. Therefore, if Christ who dwells in me, if it is Christ who dwells in me, I would walk in his shoes. If Christ fulfilled the Torah, what does it mean to fulfill the Torah? He committed no sin. Therefore, if I lead in that example, then I also shall not know sin. Therefore, the law of sin, that is Torah, is irrelevant to me. I'm not bound by it. I'm not judged.
So we're not supposed to follow the commandments?
So you're completely misunderstanding what it means that we are set free from the Torah. Completely misunderstanding it.
Yeah, I misunderstand it. I don't understand it.
Because if Christ committed no sin, hence he fulfilled it. When we say words have meanings. He fulfilled it in that he committed no sin. He's the only one who committed no sin. The Torah is impossible to actually fulfill. Yet he did it. That's what the Messiah does, because the Messiah is God. We can go see that elsewhere. We can get to that if these guys.
Yeah, but I just want to know the answer.
Okay, but I'm trying to explain to you. Okay, so with baptism we die. You die. You're born as Isabel. Now you're dead through baptism. Then it is no longer I, but Christ who dwells in me. It's exactly the words of St. Paul. Very clearly. Romans chapter 7 is a very beautiful example if you guys want to learn more about that specific point.
No, I just wanted to the response to Meyer's comment about.
Meyer ran away because he can't argue with us. So the rest of them would run away also. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. But that's what it means. Because the law of the Torah tells you what is sinful. I don't know that covetousness is bad if it didn't tell me thou shalt not covet. Therefore, the law is there to tell you what is sinful and what isn't. Okay, but that is irrelevant to me if I live the Christian life. Therefore, I'm not bound by the Torah. The Torah is only bound to you when you live in the flesh. Do you understand?
But we're living in the flesh.
Correct. So that's why St. Paul says, "O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me?"
So we're still bound by the Moses laws then.
If you live by the Torah, you'll be judged by it. Exactly. If you live by the Torah, you'll be judged by it. Don't live by the Torah. That's what it means. So, no, we're actually much more in line with actual Judaism than the so-called Jews who don't even do basic Torah.
Yeah, I really don't understand any of this, to be honest. I'm sorry.
What don't you understand?
No, I mean, like, what you're saying about, like, living by the Torah, will be judged by the Torah. I mean,
if you live by the Torah,
we still have God, the Bible, we live by it, we follow the rules, the Ten Commandments are part of our doctrine, so I don't understand what it means not living by the Torah.
Because it's the same, the Torah, the laws are not abolished. The laws will be written on their heart, according to the prophet Jeremiah, which the Jews don't seem to care about.
Oh my God, why do you sound...
I'm telling you what it is. Before Moses, the laws were written on their hearts, like Abraham. After Moses came the Torah, because these guys need to be disciplined. After the Messiah, if you can go ahead and check it, Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34 tells you very clearly that there's a new covenant, unlike that old one, where those will be my people, because what's his name doesn't want to reconcile with the fact that yes, there is excommunication. Before I go to that, and it tells you that those will be my people, and the laws shall be written on their hearts, just like it was in the old. Therefore, the Torah will no longer be binding. This is something they've known. Now, the modern Jew doesn't know it because he doesn't read Mikra. Totally fine. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I believe in the Old Testament.
I don't think that's the case with Meyer, dude.
It is the case with Meyer.
No.
He reads from the Talmud. He doesn't. Fine.
No,
Then go ahead.
dude, that's not true.
Then go ahead. All he does is ad hominems. Why? Because
you are doing ad hominems.
When I tell you you're a faggot for not understanding this, and that, that's not an ad hominem. Like, I'm arguing your person rather than your argument. Like, what he's doing is he's making claims. Oh, that's irrelevant. But I'm telling you how it's not. So then you repeat that it's irrelevant. Tell me how it is relevant. Tell me how it is relevant instead of telling me it's irrelevant. Tell me how it's dumb instead of telling me it's dumb. I'm more than willing to destroy your entire existence. I'm able to do it. I can do it without even opening up the Bible. Okay? So, like, let's get real here. Jeremiah chapter 31 talks about the new covenant. You're more than welcome to read it. Hosea chapter 1 tells you exactly how you will no longer be my people and I'm not your God. But those who were told they're not my people, those will be called the children of the living God. Okay, reconcile with your prophet instead of actually, before reconciling with these nuts. How about that? Go read your own books and then we can talk. Is that good? But if you're interested in this, read Romans chapter 7 is about. You'll understand why is it that the Torah is in fact binding until you live, until you die. Marriage is a beautiful example. Now with the Torah, which is holy and good, and unlike those schmucks, I actually believe in it. But the Torah is holy and good. However, it made sin exceedingly sinful. So the devil uses what is holy in order to cause you to fall. Why is that? Because the Torah tells you shall not fuck an animal. Now, because I see that, some people have the idea to actually go ahead and do it. But at the same time, before the Torah, your sin was a sin of ignorance. After the Torah, your sin is a sin of rebellion. So it made sin exceedingly sinful. Okay? So, but being dead to the Torah means that it's no longer binding on me since I should not know sin. If you follow Christ, who fulfilled the Torah, aka did not commit sin, do you understand?
So why do we have even then still the Old Testament? Why don't we keep just to the New Testament? Then we would be.
Because the only reason I believe in the New Testament is because of the Old Testament. Because I actually read it, unlike these guys.
Why are you always trying to throw jabs? This is the reason why you piss off everyone.
It's just difficult to respect these people.
No, it's not these people, and it's like, I mean, you
look,
cannot
talking
speak,
about commandments.
You cannot speak for what they believe. You cannot speak for what they read or not read. And
yes,
you cannot,
I can actually. Yes, I can. I know the Torah and the Talmud more than they do.
Yes, but how can you say that they don't?
Because I know what's binding on them and what isn't. And I know the inconsistencies within their
This is what makes it so frustrating, because I am looking, for example, to really understand these things, and to me it's very rich, to listen to both of your points of views from different religions, because you're referring to the exact same text, and it's just so frustrating that you start with the name calling and the interruptions.
Well, let me tell you this. If you think that that's rare, some people delight in debt. Some people have like mansions, but they're like on credit, and if you delight in that richness, that means you're a very poor woman. Because he has nothing to offer other than claims. Again, I'm not in that.
Well, according to you, not according to me.
According to the objective truth, because I can tell you exactly what I can tell you the what, the why, the how. And you'll never hear me talk about anything without telling you the what, the why, and the how. Now, these schmucks, they can only say the what. And let's talk about commandments. The hardest commandment is to love thy enemy, which they don't have. Okay?
Do you know them? Because it doesn't seem like you know them.
I'm telling you, it is such a hard commandment. Let me tell you that. It is a truly, truly super tough commandment.
Then speak for yourself. You don't know what it's in their hearts.
I know what's in their hearts and what's on their foreheads. I know all of it.
Hi, Randy. Okay, we can.
I know all of it. Now, the truth of the matter is, hey, not all your fingers are the same. Okay? Not all your fingers are the same, but this thing. Let's argue, not people. Let's argue things. See, that's the difference. I'm not gonna call them schmucks as an argument. The argument is, it can be found in your Mikra. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34. Write it down, please. Hosea chapter 1 in its entirety. Read it. And the beginning of verse 2, chapter 2. How about that? That's also interesting. These two alone tell you a lot. Okay, you reconcile with that. Reconcile with it. That's all.
Let me go back to the room. Let's see who is still in the room.
Yeah.
Huh, there's still some people here. I'm surprised actually. I thought that you had won by exhaustion, dude.
No, I won by fact. I don't win. Anyways, it's God who wins in the end of the day. I don't gain anything by telling you the truth.
You see, for example, with Matt, you could have a good conversation with him.
I know,
You
Matt.
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, and he's a rabbi.
He's the rabbi in my ball sack. He's a reformed. What are you talking about? Are you for real? He's not even a Jew.
Oh my God, Randy, stop.
Hey, it's the truth. I'm sorry. I go by Moses. I don't go by what some Yiddish guy says. I go by.
Stop. Nobody is even answering to you anymore. You
yeah,
can
that's
talk
fine.
to everyone.
That's fine. I'm just telling you my perspective on things. I go by the Torah. I don't care what the Jew says. I go by Moses. Why is that so complicated?
Oh, he's responding in the chat. Oh, I didn't realize. He's talking in the chat.
Okay, he says, take Moses' name out of your language. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful claim. How did I lie? What, why, how? Go ahead, dude. Go ahead. Otherwise, excuse me while I call you a faggot.
You don't seem to believe. He's ignoring Deuteronomy 13:1. You don't seem to believe in the Tanakh. You keep trying to check your.
Let's go step by step. I got time for this faggot. Let's go step by step. Deuteronomy
13:1.
13:1. Let's check what I am ignoring. If there rises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign of wonder. That's all it says. So that's not what I'm ignoring. Let's continue to see what that says, because maybe that's what he's referring to. And the sign or the wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. Okay, so what you're saying is basically you're claiming that I am telling you to serve other gods. Indeed, I am, because you don't really follow God. You're in an eternal state of rebellion against God, according to your prophets. Come reconcile with that. Talking about Hosea 1, which we just mentioned, he even equated you to a whore.
He says to read the earlier verse, because we number it differently.
Earlier verse what? Give me which Bible? Okay, so can you put a link?
So instead of Deuteronomy 13:1, I guess read, 12 or something.
How about you tell us the verse since you know it so well?
Because we number it differently, he says.
Okay, so how about he tells us the verse, just because I don't really memorize.
Be careful to observe only that which I enjoy upon you, neither add it nor take away from it. He's on a plane.
Is that the verse that he's trying to refer to?
I don't know.
I understand he's on a plane, but he can type clearly, so he can tell us which one it is. Is that the one? Is that the verse you're talking about? Be careful to observe only that which I enjoin upon you, neither add to it nor take away from it. Because I can tell you exactly how you add to it and take away from it. Are you sure that's where you want to go, Mr. Rabbi? That's the one. Okay, he wants to go there. That's beautiful. Can you tell us when you come down from your airplane, inshallah, safely? Because I want to cook your ass just like I cook your other rabbis. I will destroy you if that's your claim. It's going to be crazy. He's shutting down in a moment. Yeah, I know. You can run away like you always do. But when are you going to be back? Because I would love to have this conversation with you. I want to see what Mr. Rabbi has to say. Don't add to it or remove from it. This is the dumbest thing you can say as a Jew to a Christian. I'm just letting you know. You have borne false, again, he's arguing me, not my claims. You have borne false, which is ad hominem by definition, by the way. You have borne false witness by lying about verses, as you have demonstrated time and time again. You have not demonstrated nothing. You're bearing false witness not only against me, but against yourself, since you have not done that. Now, if that's the case, again, I invite you, the what, the why, and the how. Instead of making a claim, make an argument.
The second census, he says.
The second census has nothing to do with it. I literally explained to you why it cannot be inferred. The number of the Levites is not as relevant as the number of other Israelites, since they don't get an inheritance. Therefore, it doesn't go into the hundreds.
You said it didn't happen, he says.
I said it goes into... No, it doesn't go as... Check the first... Are you retarded? How about you... Okay, can you do it? So that I want you guys to see how retarded these people are. Isabel, can you go check... It was Deuteronomy. Oh, he ran away. Well, beautiful how they run away exactly when they're about to be called out all the time. Can you check the verse that they mentioned for that? It was
Wait, let me open the Tanakh.
yeah. Well, it doesn't matter online or it doesn't matter where you go.
Oh, yeah, it's true. No, but
Right. I want to show you how like these guys are the lying sons of Satan. But
but stop saying they're lying. They're not lying.
But they are. But
it's
they
just
are.
you guys talking over each other. This is
But they are though. That's no.
Deuteronomy. Which one was it? 13, right?
It's not that we're talking over each other. It's that they're actually lying, and you can. That's why I give you verses so that you can verify. I don't expect you to just trust me. You shouldn't trust me. But likewise, just this fool, this fucking response cuck.
Deuteronomy 13.
No, not Deuteronomy. Not Deuteronomy.
Hashem spoke to Moses saying, "Send forth men."
Oh my God! Not Deuteronomy. Numbers chapter 26, verse 62 is what he referred to. Can you check?
Numbers what?
Numbers chapter 26, verse 62. That's what he referred to.
Their counts were 23,000, every male from 1 month of age and above, for they did not count themselves among the children of Israel, for an inheritance was not given them among the children of Israel.
Correct. So as you noticed, unlike the others in that chapter, because the Israelites have and the Levites are part of the Israelites, but they have their own census. The reason why there's a census is because that will be divided based on the men in each tribe. That's why. But the Levites don't get land. That's why they have a different census. Now, if you didn't notice, when they mention the numbers of the tribes in this chapter, you can find it goes by the thousands, hundreds, and even tens. However, when it comes to the Levites, it doesn't do that. It only goes by the thousands. Now, the claim is that 250 died. Oh, that's not a claim. That's fact. Actually, you can see it in chapter 16 and also in this chapter. 250 died, and they're not necessarily the children of Korah. There's Reuben and etc. The children of Korah, how many of them died? Okay. First step to do is to identify it's so easy to know how many of them died actually, because if you can verify how many others died, then you can do the math and find out how many children of Korah died. Regardless, it's not even in the hundreds. So that's why it cannot be accounted for, because it doesn't go in the hundreds or tens for that number. It says what? 23,000? Is that what it says?
Yeah.
23,000. It doesn't say 23,130. It doesn't say something like that. So if 250 died, and most of them are not children of Korah, aka they're not Levites, then it cannot be accounted for in this sense. Do you see how they are lying sons of Satan?
Yeah, well, we need to wait until Meyer is back, because I really can't follow.
You don't need me or him. All you need is to use your brain that God gave you. That's all you need to do, really.
Well, maybe God didn't give me a very big brain.
Right. Now, the second dumbest thing you can do is to say that, oh, well, does it say in Psalms specifically that Korah, the children were reconciled? I never made that statement to begin with. Again, you're fighting with yourself. Number two is you can deduce things, just like you deduce that Moses converted his wife. Oh, do you see anywhere where it says that? No, you don't. These are things you can deduce. So again, like being disingenuous that's a Muslim trait. Well done. You're more compatible with Muslims. Beautiful. Fascinating. Respectfully.
No, we're not compatible with Muslims.
Yes, but I'm equally as disingenuous.
And there's a reason we prefer the Judeo-Christian unity.
There's nothing called Judeo-Christian, and there is no unity between us and the sons of Satan.
Get over it, man. This is such a weird slander.
Well, that's the truth. How about you read Torah and Mikra?
So you're so righteous.
Because these are the words of their own prophet.
Randy, are you a righteous one? You guys fight Christian values?
I'm not the most righteous now.
How good, at least you admit it.
Of course I admit it. I'm cloaked in humility. But I'm not heretical. Now, the prophets made it very clear. Reconcile with your prophets. That's my only point. As for Muslims, we know what these guys are about. We know what kind of prophet they follow. So they are unlike their prophet. They're much better than Muhammad, actually. The Jews are much worse than the prophets, I can tell you that. Maybe they're not as as bad as Muhammad, but they're much worse than because the prophets are holy and good, and you just refuse to listen to them. Yeah, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
You exhausted everyone.
Oh, it's good. Imagine how much Moses had to exhaust people to tell them to follow them. He even got them to kill each other.
Don't compare to yourself to Moses, dude.
Of course.
You always do this.
Of course. If you tell the Jews to follow Torah, you're basically taking on the role of Moses. And it was the hardest thing that he ever did. In fact, it killed him. Moses literally wasn't able to see the promised land because of the sins of his people. Do you understand that?
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to get in.
And that's why he called them, you are truly a stiff-necked people. And all the prophets said the same thing. Yeah. Because the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life is to get a Jew to actually open up his Torah. Right.
Anyway. Oh my God.
Anyways, we settled that. If you don't believe in Torah, you're not a Jew. What's here with you guys? No, that's fact. I'm sorry.
Hi, I've been listening in. Rabbi, have you gotten your dopamine? Because I just recorded like an hour and 44 minutes of you just screaming like a neurotic, talking about nothing. What a waste of time. Thank you very little. I'll put the link in the chat. We'll call you, don't call us. Great PTR, by the way, Satan.
I love the PTR, but can you send me the link, please?
It's in the chat.
Did you put it?
I don't know. Did you put it in the chat? You said you put it in the chat.
I'm putting it in the chat now. Ahora, por favor. Perdón. Aquí. Aquí, ahora.
Thank you very much.
How are you, Edmund, my love?
Oh, I'm great. I'm in battle regalia.
Oh, what does that mean?
That means I'm wearing a clown outfit. Honk, honk.
Well, can you end it and then because it's live? Can you end it and then so it's saved and then do it again? Then I suppose.
We could do
I
that.
was thinking about you the other day, and I was listening to one of the lectures of what's his name? The drunken guy.
Which they're all drunk. Well, which ones?
Yeah, he's a philosopher. He was a former pastor.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, Edmund knows. Edmund listens.
Never became a philosopher. My pastor, by definition, is a Protestant, and this guy's fail in philosophy 101.
I'll tell you right now. I was listening to a lecture of Alan Watts.
Alan, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I also was listening to another podcast of a guy that talks history through the Bible. It was very interesting too.
You don't want to learn Bible from fucking Alan Watts, I can tell you
No, this is not Bible through Alan Watts. Alan Watts is just a philosopher. He was a pastor. But then he didn't. He wasn't a pastor anymore. Oh my god.
Yeah, Protestants, they're pretty wild.
I'm thinking that all of this was just a conversation about what brought us here. I think it was a Judeo-Christian.
It's about the communication and how they don't want to reconcile.
I think it was a Judeo-Christian thing that we started with Tommy and Meyer and
it is excommunication.
No, we started it, and then you came in. And then
it is excommunication because you were saying, okay, how is it? Because you were talking about the replacement theory. I'm telling you, there is no replacement.
No, we didn't talk about replacement theory. I know you were the one implying that we were talking about some replacement. I didn't say replacement. That's not.
You said it implicitly in your statement. That's why I told you.
No. I just said that there was the old covenant, and then Jesus is the new covenant. And so in the old covenant, there was like the chosen people. With Jesus, it was everybody who believed in him, whether they were Jews or they were Gentiles. they were going to be seen as the followers, like they were entering the kingdom of God, as long as you accepted Jesus the Messiah. Whoever didn't was ousted. That's all.
Correct, and that's the problem. That's why I said you make it seem, because there was and is God's chosen people, and there's always been a remnant of Israel, which is a minority of Israel, which path of actually studying philosophy. And the people that come on like Clubhouse and say I'm a philosopher, and then they want to go down this rhetoric of the formal logic and stuff like that, they're giving a bad name to what philosophy actually is, and it's existential thinking, right? It's more of your semantics and your vocab and how you try to string things together to make things more so sophisticated than it really actually is, right? And when you look at any type of subject or topic, right, you can apply philosophy to it. Basically, philosophy is just looking at life existentially and breaking it down in a rational way to a conclusion that is valid, right? That is basically what it is. And then okay, fuck it. I'm not going to even talk about philosophy anymore because we have dumbasses on the stage. I wanted to bring forward what just happened with Samoa enter the stage and then decide to ask Incan a question. Incan, don't let Samoa pull you in with all the questions. Back and take a look at how Samoa acts. Back and look at how Samoa acts, right? Back and look how Samoa acts, right? All he does is ask questions, right? He never take a position. You ask him a question, he will never take a position, right? He's just here to fuck with you. He just here to fuck with you and then move on with his life. I think Samoa has a mental issue because he just consistently in his fucking works of just nothing but fucking, I don't know, these plays on what he want to call a debate, right? Your outlook, bro, I'm saying this in a sincere way. Something is actually wrong with you, bro. You need to chill out and you need to approach it in a way that is more rational because you're not a very good debater. I'll leave it. All right. I'm just saying this really quick.
You know why upset, bro? It's because we had this argument about modal semantics. He got obliterated in public, bro. You can even ask Nathan about this. And ever since then, bro, he's been making fun of me for being a postman.
Now look, you're a postman and you waste all this intellectual power now when you don't even use it properly. It's embarrassing because if you had paid attention in school, you could have gone to university and actually done something in grad school or done something for the world. But instead, you're here picking at people's ankles. It's fucking annoying.
What if I don't want to do those things, though? Like, I'm free to do my own thinking and my own reasoning in my own time. I don't understand why that's like a fault or something.
It's embarrassing because you tried so hard, but yet you didn't try when it mattered. So now it's kind of like you have a bunch of prerequisites you have not satisfied. You've not satisfied a bunch of prerequisites. Most of them are mathematical literacy. You think you've picked up some logic, but you've never actually computed logical equations, I'm guessing. So the point is, you do half of the work. You do half of the work, and you show up like you're the shit. And then you make a bunch of like elementary mistakes, and it's immediately obvious that it's a waste of time.
Let's talk about the elementary mistakes. Like, you mean like logical equations? You're talking about like predicate calculus or first order logic? I'm pretty familiar.
You don't even know the name of what I'm talking about, so it's fine. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. That ship has sailed for you because you've already chosen your career path.
Why don't you be specific though? Like, it's like we had the same issue.
I have been. And if you don't know, I'm not going to fucking educate you because I don't want to educate you because you're fucking annoying.
You said something like, modal semantics doesn't.
You're annoying. That's why you're not going to learn from me. Okay? If you were less annoying, if you actually took the advice of Leon, if you actually tried to listen to Chris when he was speaking, instead of trying to fucking correct him and tell him how he's wrong, you could have understood 20 minutes ago before it actually needed to go through the cycle 50 times. That's what I'm talking about. But, that's going to be a thing that happens for you with maturity. You're going to get mature, and you'll stop doing it. Maybe one day. But I don't expect it.
So, I'm getting a little job shame, a little education shame, which sometimes appropriate. Fucking appropriate. Not right now, though.
It is right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to die on this, so fuck you all.
Me?
Except for the moment. Sorry. Wow, education shaming should be a thing that we bring back because everybody's an armchair philosopher with half-assed fucking mathematical literacy.
You got the job shaming when it's A1, but when I'm being called the bodega drill master.
No, look, I've never insulted you because you've never acted like an asshole with A-Walk.
It's not.
And I would not insult anyone here unless they deserved it. Okay?
You just said F everybody.
No. Everybody deserves some Pally telling me to stop the education.
No.
I'm jealous.
It is appropriate to education shame sometimes because maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a me thing. There are many me things. I'm quirk. I am quirk. Okay, but when these moms say things like, "I'm a mom, so I'm a doctor. I'm a chef. I'm a chauffeur." No, you're not. You're not a fucking doctor. Shut up. Take your kid to the fucking doctor, and maybe there won't be 800 people with fucking measles right now, bitch. Okay.
So I did have like an offbeat question.
Wait, I'm jealous. Do you mind if I just make this quick statement, Chris? It's about 3 seconds, real quick, right? Did everybody just witness what happened with Kojito? Can somebody find out if he's all right or not? Man, that was weird stuff. I was like, whoa. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, I mean this in all kindness, Kojito. That did seem a little unprovoked though, just by the way. I don't know. But A-Walk, I wanted to know, like when you go on a date, do you like have an empirical argument? Like, do you talk like that all the time?
Oh my god, that would be so fucking hot. That would be so hot. I would love that shit. I would eat that shit up.
A-Walk said, and I quote, "I hope guava is hot," right? So there seems to be hope and not like, guilt inside of this.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Some girls are
I'll say something real quick, right? A-Walk in that instance showed us all that he's also a man. He might be an intellectual god in his mind, but he's also a man.
I'm just
I actually was seeing some chick that's like she's like a philosopher at the University of Ann Arbor. He's like going for a PhD, and we talk about philosophy just like how we do here. And if it's like a normal person, I tend to be more like affirming with my language, but I still like engage in the kind of reasoning I do now in front of them. I mean, you're gonna have to get used to it because this is who I am, fundamentally or whatever.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, do you go into a meta-analysis when you're ordering a burrito or a quesadilla?
If someone says something interesting, for sure, yeah, why not?
But that's kind of the argument that you were making, Chris, about how you can supplant certain things that we like and desire by having like focus on it, right? That's kind of like what you were saying. You're saying, hey, look, it looks like you can take certain things that you have.
You have to excuse him. He's only 12. Sometimes you just got to get that belt. You know what I'm saying?
No, the only reason I asked is because, like, I recognize that some people get online to be their alter ego. I'm one of those people who I'm the same way online as offline. So I was just wondering, because A-Walk does make a lot of, like, meta-analysis type, like, arguments. So I was just wondering.
That's true. Samuel's actually a Mexican vet.
Yeah, but that kind of seemed like a cheap tactic of, like, creating this idea that there's the right way of being, and that if anybody is like A-Walk, they are wrong. That's crazy.
Yeah, I get what A-Walk's saying. Also, I think that the reason why, like, a lot of these philosophical points and these arguments, like, this is illogical, or this is fallacious, or this is unjustified, whatever, I think that it also is there because it's actually respected. People respect it. So there's obviously arguments, and, there's a lot of people, won't be one of them, that if you argue, they don't want to be held to, like, things that we all kind of agree on. That we all we don't have a really good argument against why something is is something that's fallacious should still be considered, right? So these are things that are more respected. They're kind of like guidelines and rules.
Right. I mean, but in research, it is a
might have a
language.
better conversation. True.
It is a language, though, right? Like the way, the way he presents
right, in our reasoning.
No, but what I mean is, like the way he presents in the world, that's his language, and people either understand it, they can respect it, they can learn it, or they can just do what Chris did and just piss on it.
Well, whatever. I just asked a question. I didn't piss on it.
When you're ordering a quesadilla, I like to know. Wait, hold on. So you're standing in the line. You're about to order this Mexican eat, and you're gonna say, "Can you please provide to me the epistemic origin of the tortilla with the ingredients analytically?" If that's what you were doing, Chris. Like you were trying to poke fun at language. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like, what the hell? Do you speak Spanish whenever you go to Mexican restaurants, Chris?
Stop inciting violence.
No, but do you speak Spanish whenever you go to a Mexican restaurant?
No, I think what he's saying is that, like, you know how there's a specific Spanish Puerto Ricans that people in Spain may think of as a lesser version, like a degraded version of their, like, mother tongue. I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, I'm Io, I own a tech company, I have this, better understanding than you, who often flexes on people who you have the ability to do that to. And I'm telling you, as an elder person, you should possibly curtail that behavior because you're going to meet a match.
Exactly. Thank you. Well said, Sally, and I appreciate that, because this pipsqueak doesn't fucking get.
Why does he always run away from people like me or Sally?
I'm not running. I'm here. But I just don't give a fuck about you. You don't matter. You don't matter because look, how you said you spoke to your mother, that's fucking disgusting. Okay? So again, I'm not going to respect you for the kind of stupid shit you do in your life that you show clearly. It's all embarrassing. So that kind of shit, talking down to your mother like that, shame on you and fuck. Yeah! Don't you ever talk to your mother like that? Nigga? Like fucking retarded. What the fuck? How could you do that to your own mother?
I don't understand. Like, what's the issue with me telling my mom she's not a good mother?
Bitch ass nigga. Dude, by comparison, you're a dipshit. By comparison to what I do every day, you're a dipshit. You're a lightweight. No, just know that there's a hierarchy, and people like me tolerate people like you.
No, remember this. Like, I said something like this. I know, I was rude to my mom, but then later on I realized that, hey, like, this is not supposed to be, like, it's not supposed to be. I understood it.
Your mom, Awa. She deserves it.
And I would say, I don't think he tolerates people. I think if you really just live like that and think, I tolerate someone, you would be screaming at them like that. If I tolerate, like, my dog's neighbor, like my neighbor's dog, I wouldn't just start screaming at them. I tolerate them. I let them be. I feel like you just, like, have personal issues and you project them here, and it's not relevant.
But I think the reason why Kendo was like, Chaos let him go, is because with Chaos, it was inadvertently way a little bit on IO's side of the equation, and I don't think he meant to do that. So it kind of seemed a little off balance. But
Chaos and I agreed like 20 minutes ago. You can look at the chat. My point is that I flipped out when he wouldn't listen to Chris, when he shared the stupid shit that he said to his mother. I was like, you know what? Fuck this little bitch. No, I've had enough of listening to this fucking dipshit purposefully misunderstand and try really hard not to get what people are saying. That's what fucking annoyed me. And you people deserve better. Every time I listen to any of you, I try really hard to understand you, and I try really hard to make what I say sound as simple as fucking possible. A1 does neither of those things.
Look, if you want to actually demonstrate like your intelligibility or something, like, Why don't we have that argument we had about model
Not
semantics?
to you, not to you, because I don't care.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Run away, pussy.
Okay, so that's the extent of your reply, and the value of it is self-evident. Thank you, everyone.
You made a bunch of claims about you misunderstanding, so you never demonstrate misunderstanding.
Dude, what did you say about your mom? What did you say to your mom? Fuck you, that's my response.
I told her.
Yeah, and you're a fucking retard compared to me. You're a fucking retard. You know how dumb you sound? Your mother deserves more respect, and that's why I'm flipping out on you. Because fuck you for treating your mother like...
I will say, the worst thing I ever did was the one time, like my mom had a friend over, and I was like mad, not about that, but about something else. But I was a teenager, and I went to my room, but I didn't just go to my room. I slammed the door, and I was just being a complete and utter kind of, I don't think anyone's surprised by that. I apologized later because I'm like, this woman has always been on my side. Never, ever questioned why I was weird. And was just like, yeah, I don't get it, but, if that's what you want to do, I'll be your cheerleader.
But
I slammed the door. I slammed the fucking door. Not in her face, but just in her presence. Oh, my God. Yeah, later I apologize.
But we're losing AWOC's whole point here because he was countering what
I'm saying he's going to apologize
said.
for one.
No, so just real quick, you can't apologize for being honest when somebody's asking you for your honest opinion. You can't
volunteered that information.
No, hold on. His mom said, do you think that I'm a good reasoner? His mom asked him, do you think I'm a good reasoner? And that's an honest What?
He volunteered that story. It wasn't asked of him explicitly. That's my point.
No,
so he shared it like, hey guys, here's the good story about me and my mom.
No, you're hijacking, Niall.
What the fuck is that shit? No. If he wasn't in my presence, I'd slap the shit out.
All right. But there's a difference between him going up to his mother, right? Without her asking anything of him and just saying, you're a fucking retard. That's what you're doing now. Like, that's how you're framing this situation.
No. That's not how I'm framing it. And if that's how it sounds, you're right. That's not how I should be framing it. I'm framing it like his mom asked him, and he told her something so disrespectful, and then he shared it in this room as if like, oh, look, I do this with everybody. So you're just a piece of shit with everybody, guy.
But it's the truth.
Even your own mother doesn't.
Do you think it's a bad law or not? Because there's more reasons why I have for it's about. Here, let me just put this out there for you. So, being that most women, less than 50% of women, actually bleed their first time having sex, this law makes it such that the person who's being accused of being a liar on their wedding night could most likely be innocent, right? And actually still be a virgin, right? Could still be intact. Her hymen could still be intact because less than 50% of women bleed on their first time having sex. Therefore, God is either okay with having women who are innocent being killed, or he just doesn't understand human biology. God doesn't understand women's biology. So there's a few reasons why I think it's a bad law, but you might have others, and I'm more than willing to hear you.
You see, when God talks about such women being stoned to death, God was so basic. He didn't go into detail, and that's why we say we have to have that rational.
He didn't go into detail. That's right.
We need to understand because that's something that made that person not to be virgin. For instance, maybe we lose our virginity in so many ways. For example,
right. That's right.
You can be raped. It's not your fault. That's how you lose your virginity. You can be riding a bike.
You can be picking up out of the water. You can
whatever
be
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be
jumping off of a freaking.
Yeah. I'm trying to relate to what you're saying. I know what is already on your mind, so I'm giving you what you want.
I don't think you know what's on my mind. I think you're just telling.
I'm giving you what you want to hear. So virginity.
Well, please don't. I don't want you to give me what I want to hear.
Okay, so
I want you to be honest with me.
Yeah, I'm going there. So virginity, you can lose it anyway.
Are you getting to the honest part? Okay, go ahead.
So and for God to say that, a woman that is found that is not a virgin and she claimed to be virgin, I feel it's not fair on that woman's side, and that's what I'm saying. We need to be rational.
That's right.
We
It's a
have
bad
to
law,
make
right?
We have to make decision that's favors everybody. Okay, so in that sense, I would first want to ask this lady why she's claimed to be a virgin, but now she's not.
That's cool that you would do this, but I'm just saying, like, look, let's just stick to the topic. You think it's a bad law, right?
It's not a bad law because sex before marriage is a sin. Okay, that is what God is saying in the Bible.
Are you tracking this? I don't think you're tracking this at this point.
What do you mean tracking it?
Excuse me, you guys are talking about a book.
I'm not lost.
Are you guys talking about a book? I'm sorry, just to break in the conversation here. Are you guys talking about a book?
Yeah, we're talking about a book.
He's talking a Bible verse that he got about virginity and why God is saying that women that are found not virgin on their wedding night shall be stoned to death.
These are words, correct, in a sentence? This is English. I'm listening. This is English you're speaking, madam?
I'm speaking English. You don't understand my accent?
I'm sorry, I have bad hearing. I lost my hearing in a church fight. I was unfortunately preaching the gospel, and somebody from Africa punched me in the side of my ear. I lost all my hearing, actually. I apologize for interrupting, madam. I can't hear that well. I am hearing assisted disabled. I apologize.
I don't know. Can you speak my language? I don't know. It would be good.
Benji, can you mod your room, please?
Can you try to speak my language too? Maybe that would be great too. Because I'm fine. You should be proud I'm speaking both language. I'm learning English, which is not my language. So he Dutch.
Don't worry about the others. Let's stick to the topic, okay?
Okay.
You think it's a good law that God issued there? Is that right?
You saying it's a bad law, right?
Yeah, I think it's a bad law. Okay, I'm gonna cover this again in pretty.
It's not a bad law. Why is it a bad law? God.
Okay. I think I gave you my reason.
Everything that God says is not a bad law.
Do you remember the bad reasons that I gave you in detail? Do you remember? Do you remember the reasons I said it was bad?
Because she was stoned to death?
Because I don't think a woman who is actually the whore of the city should be having rocks thrown at her head for lying about being a virgin to a dude. And the part that's bad is that it indicates that God is either is okay having innocent women killed, or he just doesn't understand human biology. Right? So already there's a lot of gray in this social policy, right? And so I'm willing to just look at it as a whole and take into consideration all that I mentioned and say, seems like a bad law to me, but you're unwilling to do that for some reason, and I'm just scratching my head wondering why.
What was the hymnal percentage breakage again?
Felt betrayed. He married a virgin. He thought that he married a virgin. And that's how.
This is exactly why I do this, guys. Because of this fucking crazy lunatic bullshit that comes out of these people's faces.
But see, isn't this technically somebody just learning English and you're actually falling?
Who dropped him? Who dropped that guy?
He dropped himself. He likes to just throw down one-liners and move off to the audience. It's pretty cool. It's actually very gracious of him. He's good at that.
Because, anyway, back to the topic. So I was saying this. That guy felt betrayed, because like me going by to go buy something,
Just remember, just think carefully as you're speaking, and then try to do thought experiments where you're someone else in this situation or you're involved. So I want you to really think about what you're saying, because what you're saying so far seems a little dangerous.
What is so dangerous about what I'm saying?
Well, no, go ahead. Continue.
So that's what I'm saying. you also you should be smart. Okay, you were given that smartness with you. You were born with that rational thinking. You have it. So for such cases, you should know better. You know, that's what I'm saying. You have to judge well. You know, be smart. Ask that lady, hey, you presented yourself to me as a virgin, but now you're not a virgin. What could be the reason? Instead of you just rushing or conclude by just stoning her and, you know, calling her name, that will be not fair on her side. That's what I'm saying.
Right, it's a bad law, right? It's a
bad
law.
It's not a bad law. God had his own reasons why he put that thing. And I've already told you.
So you don't know so you can't tell the difference between good and bad. Okay.
No, that was a good law.
Well, no, because if God did something different, you would just say that was good. And if he did something different, you know what? Instead of stones, it's machetes. You throw machetes at her face. You go, well, you know, God had these reasons, so you don't know the difference between good and bad so far. We're just listening.
No, I blame the people that are stoning her. I blame the people that are stoning her because they rush into conclusion. Why do they ask that lady? If they really cared to know what happened, they should have asked that lady. And if they were wise enough or exposed, you know, to whatever it is, because virginity is not always about sex, and that's how you lose it. You can lose it in any way. So that's what I'm saying. This was very stupid to pass that judgment, okay? So if there were smart people, if she was dealing with smart people, they would have stepped back a little bit and asked the lady personally, hey, what happened? You said you were a virgin, but, you know, it's not what you're presenting here. What could have caused this? And then she will explain herself instead of people just jumping into conclusion and, you know, bashing her and, you know, trying to kill her. That's so stupid. That's what I'm trying to say. But the law is okay. What God presented there is correct, 100%. Sex before marriage is a sin.
Okay, lady. Like, I don't even know anymore. I'm just gonna meet up and you guys have at it.
I have a question for you, honey. So it's not racism. I'm just trying to put a question there for people to answer. So when you check the American history, we have been having a lot of what they call white leaders, presidents, you know, leading this country. And you know, the white people, the way they're being portrayed, you know, is just, I say it's stereotype. They're being called people who don't have knowledge. They're dumb people and all that. And you have seen in the history how a lot of black people have been, you know, hindered or stopped from achieving their goals. You know, the things they have been. If you've been reading history and, you know, books about how black people have been treated, it doesn't show the reality, because just because you're black doesn't mean your brain is also dark, you know, like you don't think well, you know. So what do you think about black and white people? How they're being portrayed in the society? Do you think they're really dumb, or is it because the white people are the one making them to think that way? And I have white friends, and the way they think sometimes, I'm like, I thought you're white. You should be smarter than this. You know, why am I giving you this? Because I'm a black person. I'm supposed to be dumb. I do not know anything. What is your understanding about this? Do you think just because I'm black, I don't have knowledge, or I'm stupid?
I don't want to, you know, I'm going to pay him. I don't know. We don't think that about any business that we go into. When I'm...
All right. Are you done? All right, cool. All right, cool. Anyway, so some more, when you say invest...
Septuagint, including books like Wisdom, Sirach, Tobit, and Maccabees. When the Council of Trent defined the canon in 1546, it ratified the Septuagint.
What kind of Guatemalan magic hypnosis is this? Is everyone here sleeping and hypnotized? What are you talking about? Is this covenants discussion? I got my own covenant. I want to make an offer to you.
Are you trying
when he mentioned the 16-year-old mother at that very point, he drew a reality that people weren't contending with, and I drew I used Chris, I used Chaos, and I used I think Kojito. They immediately said from his response after his mother asked him a question, that was disrespectful, or I did something disrespectful. I went back later to apologize. Very inadvertently at this point, passing judgment on AWOC situation.
Yeah,
without noticing that they're actually doing it.
I just want to say,
Without noticing
What's wrong with passing judgment? Even if they don't notice it, if you call it to their attention, I'm sure they could recognize it. At the end of the day, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, so it's the order of events. If you get all the information and then you say, oh, that's weird, or if you just say that's weird before you get all the information, to me, these things are totally different. Do you agree?
They can be different, but I don't know what's the issue there. Because if you tell me
it's the order of events.
Yeah, but listen. So if you tell me concrete, I ate an iguana sandwich today, I say that's weird. And then you say, well, I didn't have anything else to eat. I still think that's weird, but then you just added more context where I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you were hungry. And so, what? If somebody only gives you a certain amount of information, are you saying you shouldn't come to a conclusion based on that information? That you should wait for them to elaborate at some future unknown point?
It's good as not
Let me just use your analogy there, right? So somebody says, hey, I ate an iguana sandwich, right? But then what you're responding to is somebody saying, hey, I ate an alligator sandwich. The question is, was it an iguana sandwich or an alligator sandwich? When somebody says that it's an alligator sandwich, then they're responding to something that wasn't actually investigated, right?
No, that's not true.
I don't know if that's what's happening.
All right, wait.
פשוט תקריא.
זה ארוך אבל. אני אתחיל ואז תגידו לי, טוב בסדר הבנו, כאילו זה בסדר. מאור, זה על רונן בר. ניתוח תצעיר רונן בר. רוצים לשמוע?
אוקיי, מי הכתב?
וואלה לא יודעת, אבל זה...
מי המנתח פלסטי? כן, מי עשה את הניתוח?
זה מישהו בפייסבוק, אני לא יודעת, זה סמדר שמואל, אני מכיר?
במקרה, אני מכיר. טוב.
זה טוב לקרוא?
תקראי, נו. כמה הכנה, את עושה לזה, תקראי פשוט.
אוקיי, אחד, רונן בר הרגיש...
Y'all just want to make y'all points and not care about what Messi was talking about. Messi, Kalisha, just said that this particular lawsuit has presented a valuable opportunity for people in this room and folks elsewhere to have.
Ain't no valuable opportunity. What kind of scam is Hurricane Otis perpetrating now upon the people? This is disgusting. Listen to this hypnotist whisper in your ears all kinds of...
Their housing situation, and by the time they finish college, they're halfway done with paying off a house. You have those people too, but I'm talking about the other side of it as well. That can also be considered contributing into a modern day slavery system without people really understanding the cost of debt and the cost of taking on debt and signing paperwork to get present day money where they have to pay in the future.
That's on the parents.
Okay, so
Parents need to...
Okay, so what's the solution for that?
Niggas make up like this ain't gonna work.
Niggas make up like this ain't gonna work.
Problem to it. Bro, you in the matrix.
Definitely in the matrix.
So until you come back,
She is not aware of whatever it is, the punishment is, but she's going through some torture right now. She's been stalked. It's all about character assassination. They are, humiliating her publicly. And apparently they say it's elite.
מודעות קוגניטיבית ומקצועית מלאה לכך שבכל רגע עלול לפרוץ מלחמה. מבחינת תציר בר, הוא חיכה ל7 באוקטובר חודשיים קודם, והיה מוכן בחשוף לכל חומר מודיעיני המאשש סכנה.
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, is this a good time for you and I to speak?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Okay, well, one thing I got to tell you is your phone is a bit muffled. So hopefully, be able to hear each other well. So I turned up a little bit, so hopefully that, I turned my speaker up a little bit, so hopefully that works. Do you happen to have all the paperwork that I sent you in my introductory email? And you don't have to print anything out, but as long as you can access it, do you have that available to you?
Yeah, I can pull up my email.
Okay, because there's some of the forms we will go through as we progress. The first thing I need to tell you is that I am a neutral party. I'm not on the side of the employee or management. My role in all of this is to do a limited inquiry to gather the facts, try to work out a reasonable resolution